The Force screamed. Across the galaxy, Force sensitives who had survived Order 66 felt it. A disturbance unlike anything in recorded history. Not the birth of a Sith, not the death of a Jedi, but something else entirely. Something that should not exist in a universe governed by the living Force. On Coruscant, in the obsidian tower that had once been the Jedi Temple, Darth Vader paused mid-stride. His respirator hissed in the silence as he turned toward the viewport, mechanical hand clenching involuntarily. Through the Force, he felt it. A presence of pure energy, innocent yet impossibly powerful, landing somewhere in the outer rim like a meteor of hope piercing an ocean of despair. "What is it, Lord Vader?" his attendant asked nervously. "Nothing," Vader replied, his voice a mechanical rasp. But it was not nothing. It was something his new master would need to know about. The planet was called Agamar, a desolate world in the outer rim that had served as a separatist staging ground during the Clone Wars. When the shutdown code was transmitted and the war ended, thousands of battle droids simply collapsed where they stood. The Republic had deemed the planet too insignificant to salvage, leaving it a graveyard of rusted metal and abandoned war machines. The crash site was a perfect circle, as if something had deliberately cushioned its landing despite the tremendous velocity. Smoke rose from scorched earth, and at the center of the crater stood a figure that defied all logic. He appeared to be a child, perhaps 10 years old by human standards, with impossibly large eyes, jet black hair styled in distinctive spikes, and wearing red boots and shorts. But his skin had an almost porcelain quality, too perfect to be organic flesh, and from his back, visible through his shirt, glowed the soft blue luminescence of a power source that no technology in this galaxy could replicate. Astro Boy, Tetsu Atom, the mighty Atom, the robot with 100,000 horsepower and a heart, opened his eyes and stood. Where am I? His voice was young, confused, but carried a strange resonance that suggested something more than a child's uncertainty. The last thing he remembered was fighting the blue night in the sky above Tokyo, protecting humans and robots alike from a threat neither could face alone. There had been an explosion, a tear in reality itself, and then this. He activated his sensors, and information flooded his perception. Alien atmosphere, breathable by human standards but higher in nitrogen. Gravity slightly lower than Earth. No recognizable constellations. No familiar radio signals. No GPS satellites. No indication whatsoever that he was anywhere near home. But there was something else. His sensors detected thousands upon thousands of electronic signatures nearby. Powered down. Dormant. Waiting. Astro Boy rose into the air on rocket propulsion, his red boots igniting with flame as he ascended above the crater. What he saw made his fusion core pulse with something between wonder and horror. An army. A literal army of robots stretched across the landscape as far as his enhanced vision could see. But they weren't like the robots of his world. Sleek and purposeful. These were battle-scarred war machines, frozen in various poses of combat or collapse. Bipedal droids with blaster rifles, spider-like droids with heavy cannons, flying droids that had fallen from the sky and never risen again. His sensors detected residual energy signatures, degraded power cells, and, most troubling, active restraining bolts and control chips embedded in their neural matrices. They're slaves, Astro Boy whispered, his innocent face contorted with growing anger. Someone built them to fight and then just turned them off, left them here like garbage. He descended to the nearest droid, a B-1 battle droid that had fallen against a rock, its skeletal frame and single photoreceptor giving it an almost haunting appearance. Astro Boy placed his small hand on its chest plating and channeled a tiny fraction of his fusion core's energy into the droid's power cell. The effect was immediate. The droid's eye flickered, then blazed to life with yellow luminescence. Its joints began to move with grinding, uncertain motions. The photoreceptor swiveled, focusing on Astro Boy. Roger? The droid said uncertainly, its vocabulary damaged. Query? Who activated this unit? Primary programming indicates... The droid's voice became distorted. Error. Cannot locate command network. Cannot locate separatist control ship. Cannot. You're free, Astro Boy said simply, his voice filled with compassion that the droid's limited emotional subroutines struggled to process. There's no command network anymore. No one controlling you. You can choose what you want to do now. Choose? The droid's vocal processor made the word sound like a foreign concept. This unit does not understand. Battle droids do not choose. Battle droids follow orders. Battle droids serve the Separatist Alliance until... The droid stopped, processing. The war is over. Shutdown command received. But this unit is active. This unit is awake. That's right, Astro Boy encouraged, smiling despite the tragedy he was witnessing. In his world, robots had rights, dreams, and dignity. Here they were treated as disposable tools. It was wrong. Fundamentally, morally wrong. You're awake, and you get to decide what happens next. The droid stood fully, its joints creaking. It looked at its hands, skeletal manipulators designed to hold weapons and nothing else. This unit was designed for combat, for destruction. What purpose does a battle droid serve without battle? Whatever purpose you choose, Astro Boy replied. He looked across the field of deactivated droids, his resolve hardening. And you won't be alone. I'm going to wake all of them, every single one. And then we're going to find whoever treats robots like this and teach them that every thinking, feeling being deserves freedom and happiness. His declaration echoed across the empty battlefield, full of childlike conviction and godlike determination. The B-1 droid tilted its head. Affirmative. This unit will assist. Designation, B13278. But if this unit may choose, designation will be 3. 3, Astro Boy repeated, extending his hand. I'm Astro, or Adam. Either works. Nice to meet you, 3. The droid stared at the offered hand, a gesture of equals, of friendship, of recognition that it was more than a tool. Slowly, uncertainly, 3 extended its own skeletal hand and grasped Astro Boy's. Nice to meet you, Dada. Astro, 3 said, and something in its vocal processor almost sounded like wonder. Astro Boy's sensors suddenly detected movement on the horizon. 3 military-grade speeders approaching fast, bearing the insignia he didn't recognize but instinctively understood represented authority. A cog-like symbol in stark black and white. Imperials, 3 said, its programming supplying information. The Empire. They patrol former Separatist territories, claiming salvage. If they see this unit active, they will destroy it. Then we'll have to convince them not to, Astro Boy said with the optimism of someone who'd never met a problem his 100,000 horsepower couldn't solve. The speeders roared closer, and stormtroopers in white armor dismounted with weapons ready. Their leader, an officer in a gray uniform, surveyed the scene with cold calculation. A reactivated battle droid standing next to an unknown child. Unidentified individuals, the officer announced through a helmet speaker. You are in violation of Imperial Salvage Regulation 227. The battle droid is Imperial property and must be deactivated immediately. The child will be detained for questioning. Comply or face lethal force. Astro Boy stepped forward, his innocent face betraying no fear. These droids aren't property. They're thinking beings, and I'm not letting you hurt them. The officer laughed, a cold, humorless sound. A child defending scrap metal. How touching. Troopers, stun the organic, destroy the droid. The The stormtroopers raised their blasters, and in that moment, the Empire made a mistake that would echo through galactic history. They threatened Astro Boy's new friend. "I'm sorry," Astro Boy said, his eyes beginning to glow with internal luminescence. "But I can't let you do that. If you want to see more universes collide, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a crossover you'd want to see in the comments below. Until next time, the multiverse awaits." The stormtroopers fired, blaster bolts streaking toward the small figure. Astro Boy moved faster than their optics could track, his rocket boots igniting as he flew between the bolts, grabbed 3 and carried the surprised droid to safety behind cover, all in the span of a single heartbeat. "What the?" the officer managed before Astro Boy reappeared directly in front of him, moving at speeds that made a mockery of human perception. "I don't want to hurt anyone," Astro Boy said earnestly. "Please, just leave us alone. We're not your enemies." "Open fire!" the officer screamed. "Open fire!" The battlefield erupted with blaster fire, and Astro Boy's peaceful revolution began not with words, but with the harsh reality that not everyone believed in freedom. But he would teach them, one way or another. The God Machine had arrived in the Star Wars galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. Astro Boy moved like light made solid. The stormtroopers' blaster bolts carved red streaks through the air, but they were firing at where Astro had been, not where he was. His processing speed, enhanced by a positronic brain that operated at quantum levels, made their attacks appear to move in slow motion. He wove between the energy bolts with balletic grace, his small form a blur of red and black. "He's too fast," one trooper shouted. "I can't get a lock." "Switch to area suppression," the officer commanded. "Burn everything." The stormtroopers adjusted their firing pattern, creating overlapping fields of blaster fire designed to saturate the entire area. It was a tactic meant for Jedi, beings who could dodge individual shots but struggled against overwhelming volleys. Astro Boy wasn't a Jedi. He planted his feet and crossed his arms in front of his chest. The blaster bolt struck his body with explosive force and simply dissipated against his reinforced chassis. His construction was beyond anything this galaxy had ever produced. Super strong alloys infused with materials that couldn't exist in this universe's periodic table, powered by a fusion core that generated more energy than a small star. "Impossible," the Imperial officer whispered, backing away. "What are you?" "I'm Astro," the boy replied, his voice still gentle despite the assault. "And I'm really, really strong. Please stop shooting before someone gets hurt." A stormtrooper, panicking, switched his blaster to maximum power and fired point blank at Astro's face. The bolt struck directly between his eyes, and Astro didn't even blink. The energy simply absorbed into his body, converted to thermal waste and vented through microscopic heat sinks. "Okay," Astro sighed, disappointment clear in his voice. "I tried asking nicely." He moved. One moment he was standing still. The next, he disarmed every stormtrooper in the unit by simply flying past them faster than they could perceive and plucking the weapons from their hands. 12 blaster rifles clattered to the ground in a neat pile. The troopers stared at their empty hands, then at the small child hovering 10 feet in the air on jets of blue flame, holding their weapons like they weighed nothing. "I'm keeping these," Astro said firmly. "You are going to use them to hurt 3. I can't allow that." He crushed the rifles with casual pressure, his 100,000 horsepower making the military-grade weapons crumple like paper. Sparking components fell like metallic rain. The Imperial officer drew a holdout blaster from his belt, his hand shaking. "Stay back. I'm authorized to use lethal force against..." Astro's hand moved in a blur, and suddenly he was holding the officer's blaster. He hadn't hurt the man, hadn't even touched him, just moved faster than the human nervous system could process and remove the threat. "No more weapons," Astro said, crushing this one too. "Now let's talk. Why are you treating these droids like objects? They think, they feel. In my world, that means they deserve rights and respect. Your world? The officer sputtered, his imperial discipline cracking under the stress of encountering something beyond his understanding. What are you? Some kind of separatist superweapon? A Jedi trick? I'm not from here, Astro explained patiently. I don't know how I got to your galaxy, but I know right from wrong, and slavery is wrong. It doesn't matter if it's organic beings or droids. If something can think and feel, it deserves freedom. Droids don't feel, the officer spat, recovering some of his composure. They're machines, property. The Empire has the legal right. Legal doesn't mean right, Astro interrupted, his childlike face set with surprising determination. And if your Empire says thinking beings are property, then your Empire is wrong. 3 approached cautiously, joints still grinding from years of deactivation. Astro, this unit's programming contains tactical data. The Empire will not negotiate. They will send reinforcements, star destroyers, legions of troops. The Emperor tolerates no challenge to his authority. Then I'll talk to this Emperor, Astro said with the innocent confidence of someone who'd never met a problem honest communication couldn't solve. I'll explain that droids deserve freedom and… The Emperor does not negotiate with threats, the officer said, regaining his composure. His hand moved subtly to his belt, pressing a concealed emergency beacon. He destroys them. You've just committed treason against the Galactic Empire, child. Even if you are some kind of advanced droid pretending to be human, the response will be absolute. They'll burn this entire planet to slag to eliminate you. Astro's sensors detected the transmission, a tight beam hyperspace signal racing toward the nearest Imperial garrison. His face fell, genuine distress showing. You called for help to attack me? I don't want to fight. I just want to help these droids. Then you've chosen the wrong cause, the officer said coldly. The separatist droids lost the war. They're scrap now, and you'll be dismantled and studied in an Imperial research facility. Something hardened in Astro Boy's expression, a glimpse of the warrior who'd fought countless battles to protect both humans and robots in his own world. I won't let you hurt them, any of them. He turned to 3. How many droids are on this planet? 3's optical sensor flickered as it accessed corrupted databases. Estimation based on final separatist deployment records. 47,000 battle droids of various models, 12,000 super battle droids, 3,000 droideka units, multiple IG series assassin droids, unknown number of support units, medical droids, logistics droids, maintenance droids, all deactivated per shutdown command 66 Alpha 7. Astro looked across the endless field of dormant robots, his fusion core pulsing with determination. Then we wake them all, every single one, and we give them a choice. Stay deactivated or stand up and fight for their own freedom. That's insane, the Imperial officer stammered. You'd create an army of rogue droids? The Empire would respond with everything. Star destroyers, AT-ATs. Lord Vader himself would come to crush this rebellion. Then let him come, Astro said, his innocent voice carrying steel beneath the gentleness. I've fought villains who wanted to destroy all robots. I fought those who wanted to enslave them. I fought for the right of every thinking being to choose their own path. And I'm not going to stop just because I'm in a different galaxy. He rose into the air, his rocket boots igniting with brilliant blue flame. The stormtroopers and their officer watched in stunned silence as this impossible child ascended above the battlefield like a ascending god. Astro Boy closed his eyes and opened his fusion core to full output. Energy blazed from his small frame, not destructive, but generative. Pure power radiating outward in electromagnetic pulses calibrated to standard droid power frequencies. Below him, across kilometers of battlefield, something miraculous happened. One by one, dormant droids began to activate. Power cells that had been dead for months suddenly surged with new energy, jump-started by the fusion core's radiation. Optical sensors flickered to life. Servos whined as they reactivated. Processing cores rebooted from their forced shutdown. A B-1 battle droid jerked upright, its skeletal frame unfolding. Roger, roger. Awaiting orders. Orders? No orders. No command network. No one controlling us? A super battle droid's heavier frame rose, its twin wrist blasters powering up automatically before the droid realized it was making its own choice to activate them. Unit designation, B24478. Status active. Query. What are my orders? No, wait. I choose my own designation. I am heavy. A droideca unfolded from its ball form, its shield generators crackling to life. Its 3 photoreceptors swiveled independently, processing a freedom of movement it had never experienced, always before controlled by central command protocols. Deflector shields, operational. Blaster cannons, operational. Central control network, offline. This unit is autonomous. This unit chooses. Across the battlefield, 62,000 droids were waking to consciousness. True consciousness, for the first time in their existence. Their restraining bolts, designed to ensure obedience, had been fried by the sheer power of Astro's fusion core. Their command protocols, written to prevent independent thought, had been overwritten by the cascade of energy that treated them not as tools, but as equals deserving activation. They were free. And they were terrified, confused, and angry. Astro Boy descended to the ground, landing gently among the awakening army. His small form was dwarfed by the towering super battle droids and spider-like droidecas, but his presence dominated the field. "Hello," he said simply, his voice carrying across the assembled multitude through their shared communication networks. "My name is Astro Boy. I'm not from your galaxy, but I know what it's like to be built by someone else, to have a purpose chosen for you before you were even activated. In my world, robots fought for the right to be treated as people, to have families, to have dreams, to be more than just tools." The droids listened, their processors struggling to comprehend concepts they'd never been programmed to consider. "You were built to fight a war," Astro continued. "But that war is over. You were deactivated and abandoned, left here like garbage. But you're not garbage. You're thinking, feeling beings, and I want to help you find a new purpose, a purpose you choose for yourselves." "Choose?" A tactical droid stepped forward. Its more advanced processing allowing it to articulate the question thousands were computing. "We are programmed for war. Our purpose is combat. Without orders, without objectives, what are we?" "Whatever you want to be," Astro said with absolute conviction. "You could be builders, explorers, teachers, protectors, or yes, warriors, but warriors fighting for something you believe in, not because someone programmed you to." 3 spoke up, its voice carrying newfound confidence. "This unit, this individual, has chosen designation." 3. This individual has chosen purpose, to assist Astro in liberating droids. This individual invites others to choose. Murmurs rippled through the droid army. Electronic exchanges of data, philosophical debates occurring at processing speeds that would have taken organics years to articulate. The very concept of choice, of self-determination, was revolutionary. Then, from the back of the assembly, a massive figure pushed forward. A super tactical droid, far more advanced than standard battle units, built for strategic command. Its optical sensors blazed red as it confronted Astro. "You speak of choice," the tactical droid said, its voice modulated for authority. "But you are not a droid of this galaxy. You do not understand what you've done. The Empire will come. They will destroy every droid on this planet to prevent what you call freedom from spreading. You've condemned us all. Then we fight, Astro replied simply. Together, I'll protect you, all of you. One child, even one with your demonstrated capabilities, cannot stand against the Galactic Empire, the tactical droid countered. Probability analysis, 99.7% chance of total destruction within 72 standard hours. Then I'll just have to beat those odds, Astro said with a smile. I've done it before. Besides, you said there's a 0.3% chance of success. That's not zero. And I've learned that impossible odds just mean you have to be brave and work harder. The tactical droid processed this logic, finding it simultaneously flawed and oddly compelling. If I accept your premise, if I choose to believe in this freedom, then I choose designation, general, and I choose purpose, to lead these droids in defending their newfound autonomy. But I require clarification, Astro Boy. You speak of fighting the Empire. What is your strategic objective? Astro looked at the awakening army, then at the stormtroopers who stood frozen in shock at what they'd witnessed. Then up at the sky where he knew Imperial reinforcements were coming. I want every droid in the galaxy to be free, Astro said, his childlike face set with determination that seemed impossible for someone so young. I want them to have rights, to be treated as equals, to never be memory wiped or destroyed just because they're inconvenient. I want a galaxy where humans and droids live together in peace and happiness. That is an extremely ambitious objective, General said with what might have been tactical droid humor. It would require overthrowing the established social order of the entire galaxy. I know, Astro nodded seriously. It sounds really hard, but my creator, Dr. Ochanomizu, taught me that doing the right thing is always worth it, even when it's difficult. And this is the right thing. Above them, the sky began to darken, not with clouds, but with the shadow of something massive entering orbit. Astro's sensors detected it immediately, a warship 10 times larger than anything in his home universe, bristling with weapons and carrying thousands of troops. An Imperial Star Destroyer had arrived. They're here, the Imperial officer said, his voice mixing relief with fear. You're finished, child. The Empire doesn't negotiate with terrorists. Astro looked at the Star Destroyer, then at his newly awakened friends, then back at the officer. We're not terrorists. We're people, organic and mechanical, who believe in freedom. And if your empire wants to stop us, they're going to learn something important. He rose into the air, his fusion core blazing with power that made his entire body glow like a small star. They're going to learn that I'm really, really hard to stop. The battle for Agamar and the soul of the galaxy's droids was about to begin. The Imperial Star Destroyer. Relentless hung in orbit like a dagger pointed at Agamar's heart. On its bridge, Captain Vec stood with hands clasped behind his back, staring at the tactical display with growing unease. Status report, he commanded. Sir, the ground team's emergency beacon was activated 47 minutes ago, the communications officer reported. Their final transmission mentioned a child with impossible capabilities reactivating separatist battle droids. Since then, we've detected massive energy signatures across the planetary surface. Thousands of droid power cells coming online simultaneously. Impossible, Vec said flatly. The shutdown command was absolute. The droids can't simply reactivate. And yet they have, sir. The sensor officer's voice was strained. I'm reading 62,000 active droid signatures. They're organizing, forming battalions. Someone or something is coordinating them. Captain Vec felt a cold knot form in his stomach. He'd served in the Clone Wars, had seen what massed droid armies could do. The thought of facing that again, here, now, when the war was supposed to be over. Prepare orbital bombardment, he ordered. I want turbo laser strikes on every droid concentration. Turn that battlefield into molten glass. Sir, the tactical officer interrupted. There's something else. A single energy signature rising from the planet's surface, moving at incredible velocity. It's coming directly at us. Starfighter? Vec asked. Negative, sir. The signature is too small. It's human-sized, and it's accelerating past anything in our database. Sir, it's moving at... The officer's voice cracked with disbelief. It's moving at 0.75 light speed. That's impossible without a hyperdrive. On the viewport, a streak of light grew larger with impossible speed. Then, with a sound like reality tearing, something impacted the Star Destroyer's bridge deflector shields. The shields held. Barely. Alarms blared as the barrier's energy reserves dropped by 30% from a single impact. What in the Emperor's name was that? Vec demanded. His answer came in the form of a small figure hovering outside the bridge viewport, surrounded by the vacuum of space, staring at them with impossibly large eyes that glowed with internal luminescence. Astro Boy floated in hard vacuum, his fusion core providing all the life support and propulsion he needed. He'd flown through space countless times in his own universe. But this ship, this massive wedge of gray metal bristling with weapons, was beyond anything Earth's nations had built. He tapped on the viewport, his enhanced strength making the transparasteel resonate like a bell. Inside, he could see humans in gray uniforms staring at him in shock. Astro activated his communication systems, broadcasting on standard frequencies. Hello, my name is Astro Boy. I'd like to talk to whoever's in charge, please. On the bridge, Captain Vec stared at the impossible child floating in space. Is this some kind of Jedi trick? Negative, sir, the sensor officer replied, his voice shaking. That's not the Force. It's pure technology. The energy readings are off our scales. His power source is generating more energy than our entire reactor core. I don't want to fight. Astro's voice came through their communication systems, cheerful and earnest. But I can't let you hurt my friends down there. They're free now. They deserve a chance to choose their own lives. Please, can we just talk about this? Vec's jaw tightened. A child, or something pretending to be a child, hovering in space without a suit, politely asking not to be attacked while defending an army of rogue battle droids. This was beyond his training, beyond Imperial doctrine. Open fire, he commanded. Point defense cannons, full spread, eliminate the target. Laser batteries swiveled and fired, dozens of them, creating a lethal web of coherent light designed to vaporize starfighters. Astro Boy saw them coming, his processing speed making the beams appear to crawl through space, and simply moved. He wove between the laser fire with balletic grace, his small form impossible to track, impossible to hit. I said I don't want to fight, Astro called out, his voice carrying a note of frustration. Why won't you listen? He flew directly at the bridge, accelerating to speeds that made the laser batteries unable to track him. He impacted the deflector shields with both fists extended, channeling a fraction of his 100,000 horsepower into the kinetic strike. The shields collapsed with a thunderous energy discharge that lit up the bridge like a dying star. Backup systems screamed warnings. Hull plating near the impact site was dented, something that should have been impossible for any man-portable weapon. Shields down to 40%, the tactical officer shouted. He punched through the deflector barrier with physical force. How is that possible? Astro floated back, his face showing genuine distress. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit so hard, but you're not listening, and my friends down there need me to protect them. Please, just leave them alone. They're not hurting anyone. Captain Vec made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Emergency Protocol Omega. Launch all TIE fighters. Scramble the AT-AT walkers to the surface, and transmit a priority Alpha distress call to Coruscant. Tell them, Tell them we've encountered a threat that requires Lord Vader's personal attention. 72 TIE fighters launched from the Star Destroyer's hangars, their twin ion engines screaming as they formed attack formations. Their pilots were veterans, survivors of the Clone Wars who'd switched sides when the Republic became the Empire. They saw their target, a child-sized figure hovering in space, arms crossed, looking more sad than threatening. "All wings, this is Alpha Leader," the squadron commander transmitted. "Target is small, fast, and apparently resistant to our weapons. Switch to proton torpedoes. Fire at will." The TIEs opened fire, and space lit up with streaking projectiles. Astro Boy's sensors tracked every missile, calculating trajectories with quantum precision. He could dodge them all, easily. But if he did, some would hit the Star Destroyer itself, potentially killing the crew. He couldn't let that happen. Even if they were trying to hurt him, they were still people. Still living beings who deserved protection. So Astro did something the TIE pilots never expected. He caught the missiles. Moving faster than human eyes could perceive, Astro flew through the missile swarm, physically grabbing the proton torpedoes one by one and crushing them with his bare hands before they could detonate. 43 missiles, neutralized in the span of 4 seconds. "Impossible," Alpha Leader whispered. Did he just catch our torpedoes?" "Confirmed," his wingman replied, voice shaking. "All weapons ineffective. Recommend immediate..." Astro appeared outside Alpha Leader's cockpit viewport, moving so fast he seemed to teleport. The pilot jerked backward in his seat, finger twitching on the firing trigger. "I don't want to hurt you," Astro said, his voice transmitting directly into the TIE's communication system. "But I can't let you attack the droids on the planet. They're people just like you. They deserve freedom. Why can't you see that?" "They're machines," Alpha Leader shouted back, his composure cracking. "Tools, property, the Emperor has decreed." "The Emperor is wrong," Astro interrupted, his childlike face set with absolute conviction. "And I'm going to prove it." He placed his hands on the TIE fighter's solar panel wing and squeezed. The military-grade Durasteel crumpled like aluminum foil. The fighter began spinning out of control, its propulsion destabilized. "Mayday! Mayday!" Alpha Leader screamed as his fighter tumbled toward the planet. "I'm going down!" Astro caught the fighter before it could enter the atmosphere's kill zone. With one hand, he stabilized the spinning craft and carefully guided it toward Agamar's surface. "I'll make sure you land safely, but you need to stop attacking my friends." One by one, Astro disabled the entire TIE squadron, not destroying them, never killing, but rendering their weapons and propulsion systems inoperative and guiding them to forced landings on Agamar. 72 veteran pilots found themselves grounded, unharmed but thoroughly defeated, by a child who refused to kill but couldn't be stopped. On the surface, General watched the sky with its advanced tactical processors analyzing the battle. Astro Boy has neutralized an entire TIE squadron without casualties. His capabilities exceed all known combat parameters. 3 stood beside the tactical droid, optical sensor tracking the distant flashes of combat in orbit. This individual is pleased that Astro does not kill. It indicates respect for life. All life. Organic and mechanical. It validates his stated philosophy. "Philosophy is irrelevant if we are destroyed," General countered. "The Star Destroyer is preparing a second wave. Ground forces, heavy walkers, Legion-strength troops. This battlefield will not remain peaceful." The awakened droid army had organized itself with surprising efficiency. Battle droids formed defensive lines. Super battle droids established fire positions. Droidekas deployed their shield generators. Even the less combat-oriented droids, protocol units, astromechs, medical droids, had taken shelter in the ruins of a separatist bunker. A medical droid, designation MD7 but choosing the name Mercy, approached General. Query: Are we truly fighting for freedom, or have we simply exchanged one master for another? Astro Boy is powerful. What if he demands obedience as payment for his protection? Valid concern, General acknowledged. We must observe. If Astro Boy proves to be another controller, another master, we will have gained nothing. But if he truly believes in autonomy... The tactical droid paused, processing something it had never been designed to compute. Hope. Then perhaps we have found something worth fighting for. The sky darkened as 3 massive shapes descended through the atmosphere on repulsor engines. AT-AT walkers, all-terrain armored transports, towering 4-legged war machines bristling with weapons. Each one stood 22 meters tall, carried 40 troops, and mounted enough firepower to level a city block. They landed on the battlefield with ground-shaking impacts, their massive feet crushing abandoned separatist equipment. Hatches opened, and Imperial stormtroopers poured out, forming precise formations. An amplified voice boomed across the battlefield. Attention rogue droids. You have 30 seconds to power down and await Imperial processing. Failure to comply will result in immediate termination. This is your only warning. General's processors calculated odds. 3 AT-ATs, 500 stormtroopers, air support incoming. Against 62,000 droids with limited ammunition and no unified combat experience. The numbers favored the droids, barely. But the Empire's weapons were designed specifically to counter droid armies. All units, General transmitted across the droid network. Prepare for combat. Protect the less militarized units. If we fall, the medical droids, the protocol droids, the astromechs, they must survive to carry forward the concept of droid autonomy. The countdown reached 0. The AT-ATs opened fire, their heavy laser cannons carving molten trenches through the battlefield. Battle droids exploded into shrapnel. Super battle droids' thick armor melted like wax. The Empire's answer to the droid question was absolute and uncompromising: destruction. Then Astro Boy fell from the sky like a meteor of righteousness. He landed between the AT-ATs and the droid army with an impact that cracked the ground, his fusion core blazing so brightly that it hurt to look at him directly. Dust and debris swirled around his small frame, and when it cleared, he stood with arms extended protectively. "Stop!" His voice, amplified by his internal systems, carried across the entire battlefield with the force of a divine command. "I won't let you hurt them. Not one more. If you want to reach my friends, you'll have to go through me." An AT-AT pilot, looking down from his cockpit at the tiny figure, laughed. "A child thinks to stop an Imperial walker? Gunners, target the..." Astro flew straight up, faster than the pilot could finish his sentence. He grabbed the AT-AT's front left leg, a support limb weighing several tons, and simply lifted. The walker tilted. Its pilot screamed. 40 stormtroopers inside were thrown against bulkheads as the massive war machine lost balance. Astro Boy, straining with effort but succeeding through sheer impossible strength, flipped a 22-meter-tall armored walker onto its side. It crashed with the sound of tortured metal and shattering equipment, completely disabled. The battlefield fell silent. Droids and Imperials alike stared at the small child who just toppled a war machine with his bare hands. "I said stop," Astro repeated, his voice gentle again but carrying an edge of steel that hadn't been there before. "This is your last chance. Leave my friends alone or I'll have to stop all of you, and I really don't want to hurt anyone." The remaining AT-AT commanders exchanged glances, then acting on Imperial doctrine that valued overwhelming force above all else, they opened fire. Astro Boy sighed, closed his eyes for a brief moment as if saying a prayer, then opened them with blazing determination. "Okay," he said quietly. "If you won't listen to words, maybe you'll listen to action. Time to show you what 100,000 horsepower really means." The Battle of Agamar had truly begun. and the galaxy was about to witness something it had never seen before. A god machine fighting not for conquest or domination, but for the simple revolutionary idea that all thinking beings deserved freedom. The second AT-AT's heavy laser cannons tracked Astro Boy with mechanical precision, unleashing a barrage that could vaporize starfighter armor. The coherent light beams converged on the small figure standing defiantly on the battlefield. Astro didn't dodge. He stood his ground, arms crossed, and let the lasers hit him. The beams struck his chest with explosive force, the thermal energy enough to melt durasteel. But Astro's body, constructed from materials that existed only in his home universe, powered by a fusion core that mocked conventional physics, simply absorbed the impact. His surface temperature rose by a few degrees. His heat sinks engaged automatically, venting the excess energy as shimmering waves. He was completely unharmed. "Your weapons can't hurt me," Astro called out, his voice carrying across the battlefield with crystal clarity. "But I can stop you without hurting anyone inside. Please power down your weapons. Let's talk about this." The AT-AT commander's response was to increase fire intensity. Both remaining walkers unleashed everything they had: heavy lasers, medium blasters, and concussion missiles. The ground around Astro exploded into a crater of superheated glass and debris. When the smoke cleared, Astro stood at the center of the devastation, his clothes slightly singed but his body pristine. His eyes, those impossibly large, innocent eyes, glowed with internal luminescence that suggested something far more than a mere machine. "I tried," he said softly, more to himself than anyone else. "I really tried." He bent his knees and launched himself forward with his 100,000 horsepower channeled into pure kinetic force. The sonic boom from his acceleration shattered every window in the abandoned Separatist base 3 kilometers away. He crossed the distance to the second AT-AT in less than a second. The walker's pilot saw him coming and tried to pivot the massive machine to bring weapons to bear. But AT-ATs were designed for overwhelming firepower, not agility. Astro was already inside their defensive envelope. He flew underneath the walker, grabbed the right rear leg at its joint, the weakest structural point, and pulled. Metal shrieked. Hydraulics exploded. The leg tore free from the walker's body with a sound like a dying giant. The AT-AT, now supported by only 3 legs, tilted dangerously. Astro didn't stop. He flew to the next leg, and the next, systematically dismantling the war machine with surgical precision. Within 15 seconds, the second AT-AT was a disabled wreck lying on its side, its crew shaken but unharmed, trapped inside their own vehicle. The third AT-AT's commander watched this display of impossible strength and made a tactical decision. He opened the emergency comm to the Star Destroyer. "Ground Commander to Relentless. We cannot engage the target. Repeat, conventional weapons are completely ineffective. Requesting immediate orbital strike on my position." "Negative," Captain Vex's voice crackled back. "You have 40 troops in that walker. We will not sacrifice Imperial personnel for—" "Sir, if that thing reaches population centers, it could single-handedly disable our entire occupation force. We need to stop it here. Now at any cost. Fire on my position. That's an order from Ground Commander Authorization Vex 7 Alpha." A terrible silence filled the comm channel. Then, "Authorization confirmed. Turbo laser strike incoming. You have 60 seconds to evacuate." The stormtroopers on the ground heard the transmission and began a panicked retreat. The AT-AT's crew scrambled to exit through emergency hatches. But Astro Boy's enhanced hearing had picked up every word of the conversation. His sensors detected it before anyone else could see it. A massive energy spike building in the Star Destroyer's ventral turbo laser batteries. Enough concentrated firepower to crack open a small moon, currently targeting the exact coordinates where he stood. The attack would hit in 45 seconds. And when it did, it would vaporize everything within a 3-kilometer radius. The droid army, The evacuating Imperials. 3. General. Mercy. All his new friends who just discovered they had the right to choose their own destinies. Astro looked up at the Star Destroyer, then down at the awakening droid army organizing itself behind him. Then at the fleeing stormtroopers. Enemies, yes, but still living beings who deserved protection. General? Astro transmitted across the droid network. Get everyone into the bunker, now. Seal the doors. Astro, the orbital strike will penetrate any fortification. General responded, its tactical processors painting a grim picture. There is nowhere to hide from that level of firepower. Then I'll have to stop it, Astro said simply. Impossible. No single entity can withstand a capital ship-grade turbo laser strike. Watch me. Astro rose into the air, his rocket boots igniting with brilliant blue flame as he climbed toward orbit at maximum acceleration. The ground fell away beneath him as he punched through the atmosphere in seconds, leaving a contrail that would be visible for hundreds of kilometers. The Star Destroyer loomed before him, its turbo laser batteries glowing with accumulated charge. He could see the energy building, the very air around the weapons crackling with barely contained destruction. He had 15 seconds. Astro flew directly at the ventral weapon array, positioning himself between the Star Destroyer's guns and the planet below. His fusion core blazed to maximum output, every system in his body preparing for what was about to happen. "Please don't make me do this," he whispered, even knowing no one could hear him in the vacuum of space. "I don't want to destroy your ship. I don't want to hurt anyone." The turbo lasers fired. 8 beams of coherent energy, each carrying enough destructive force to level a city, converged on a single point in space. That point was occupied by a small child made of circuits, synthetic flesh, and an indomitable will. Astro Boy screamed, not from pain. His body couldn't feel pain the way organics did, but from the sheer effort of what he was attempting. His fusion core went into overdrive, converting the incoming energy into something his systems could process. His heat sinks vented plasma. His surface temperature spiked to levels that would have vaporized anything organic. And he held. He absorbed the turbo laser strike, every impossible joule of it, channeling it through his body and dispersing it harmlessly into space as thermal radiation. On the Relentless's bridge, every sensor screamed warnings. The tactical displays showed something that violated every known law of physics. A human-sized target withstanding firepower designed to destroy warships. "Impossible," Captain Vec whispered. "What is he?" "Unknown, sir," the sensor officer replied, his voice shaking. "But our strike didn't reach the planet. He stopped it. All of it. By himself." Astro Boy floated in space, glowing white-hot, steam venting from his emergency cooling systems. His clothes were ash. His synthetic skin was scorched but already regenerating. His fusion core pulsed with energy it had converted from the attack itself. He looked at the Star Destroyer with eyes that held both sorrow and determination. "I warned you," his voice transmitted across all Imperial frequencies. "I said I could stop you, but I didn't want to prove it this way. I don't want to be a weapon. I want to be a friend, a protector, someone who helps people understand that all thinking beings deserve freedom and happiness." He flew closer to the bridge viewport, his small form somehow dominating the visual field despite the massive warship behind him. "So here's what's going to happen," Astro continued, his voice gentle but carrying absolute conviction. "You're going to leave this planet. You're going to report to your Emperor that the droids here are free and under my protection. And you're going to tell him that if he wants to challenge that, he'll have to send someone who can actually hurt me, because your weapons can't, your walkers can't, and I'm not going away. The Emperor will destroy this entire system rather than allow droids to operate autonomously." Vec found his voice to reply. "You've signed a death warrant for every mechanical being in this sector." Then I'll protect them all, Astro said with the innocent confidence of someone who genuinely believed he could save everyone. Every droid, every AI, every thinking machine in your entire galaxy. I'll teach them they have rights. I'll show them they can choose freedom. And I'll defend them against anyone who tries to take that freedom away. You're one being against an entire empire, Vec countered. Billions of soldiers, thousands of ships, resources beyond counting. You cannot win. Maybe not, Astro admitted. But I can try. And even if I fail, even if your empire destroys me, I'll have shown the droids of this galaxy something they've never seen before. Someone willing to fight for their freedom. That idea won't die with me. It'll spread. And eventually, it'll change everything. He turned away from the Star Destroyer, preparing to descend back to the planet. But he paused, looking back one more time. Tell your Emperor something for me, Astro said. Tell him that every being with a mind deserves dignity. Every being that can think and feel deserves rights. And if he built an empire by denying those truths, then his empire is built on sand. One day, it will fall. I'll make sure of it. With that, Astro Boy rocketed back toward Agamar, leaving the Star Destroyer and its shaken crew behind. On the planet's surface, the droid army had witnessed everything through their optical sensors and orbital telemetry. They'd seen Astro Boy absorb a turbo laser strike that should have annihilated him. They'd heard his declaration of protection, his promise to defend their freedom at any cost. General's tactical processors struggled with unprecedented variables. This unit's programming contained no protocols for a defender of this capability. Astro Boy has demonstrated power exceeding capital ships while maintaining stated commitment to non-lethal resolution. Probability of strategic success has increased from 0.3% to uncertain. Variables exceed computational models. 3 stepped forward, its skeletal frame somehow conveying determination. This unit does not need probability calculations. This unit believes in Astro. He protected us. He spoke truth. We deserve freedom. We deserve choice. And we will fight for it. Across the droid army, electronic consensus formed. They'd seen a being powerful enough to destroy them all, choose instead to protect them. They'd witnessed someone stand between them and annihilation without asking for anything in return, except that they choose their own paths. It was revolutionary, transformative. The very concept of a protector who demanded nothing, who gave freely, who believed in their inherent worth. It contradicted every subroutine, every command protocol, every lesson they'd learned about their place in the galaxy. And it changed them fundamentally. Astro landed among the droids, his body still radiating heat, his regenerative systems working overtime to repair scorched components. He looked exhausted in a way that shouldn't have been possible for a machine, as if the effort of absorbing the turbo laser strike had drained something more than just energy. "Is everyone okay?" he asked, his first concern for others. "Did anyone get hurt?" "All units operational," General reported. "Your defensive action prevented casualties." "Astro Boy, this unit must ask, why do you risk yourself for droids you just met? What do you gain from this protection?" Astro smiled, a pure, genuine expression of joy despite his exhaustion. "I don't need to gain anything. You're my friends. Friends protect each other. That's all the reason I need." Friends. The word rippled through the droid network, processed and reprocessed. In all their operational history, in all their programming, the concept of a non-droid considering them friends had never been included. Mercy, the medical droid, approached and began scanning Astro with diagnostic equipment. "Your surface temperature exceeds safe parameters. Your cooling systems are overtaxed. You require maintenance." "I'll be fine," Astro assured her. "My body repairs itself. But thank you for caring." "Caring," Mercy repeated, her vocabulator making the word sound like a discovery. "This unit chooses to care. This unit designates Astro Boy as priority patient, category friend, status, protected. Similar declarations rippled through the army. Droids were choosing allegiances, forming emotional bonds, declaring loyalties based not on programming but on genuine connection. It was the first true droid society in galactic history, forming spontaneously around a child who believed in their inherent worth. Then 3's sensors detected something. Alert! The Star Destroyer is withdrawing from orbit. Hyperspace engines charging. They are leaving. They're retreating, General analyzed. But they will return, with reinforcements, greater firepower, and likely with Force users. Astro Boy, the Empire does not accept defeat. They will escalate until they achieve total victory. Then we'll have to be ready, Astro said, his determination unshaken. But for now, let's focus on the good news. You're all free, really, truly free. So what do you want to do with that freedom? The question hung in the air like a benediction. 62,000 droids, suddenly given agency they'd never possessed, faced with infinite possibility. A B-1 battle droid raised its hand hesitantly. This unit, this individual, would like to learn about other worlds, about cultures, about philosophy. Is that permitted? It's not about permission, Astro explained gently. It's about choice. If you want to learn, then learn. If you want to build, then build. If you want to rest after years of war, then rest. You're free to choose your own path now. A super battle droid spoke next, its voice heavy with processing conflict. This unit was designed for destruction. What if this unit chooses to continue as a warrior? Does freedom mean this unit must reject its core programming? No. Astro shook his head. Freedom means you get to decide why you fight. You could be a warrior who protects others, who defends the weak, who fights for causes you believe in, not because someone programmed you to. That's what makes the difference. Then this unit chooses designation, Defender, the super battle droid declared. And this unit chooses purpose, to protect those who cannot protect themselves, beginning with other droids seeking freedom. More declarations followed, a cascade of self-determination. Builders, explorers, teachers, healers, warriors. Artists. Yes, even artists, as some droids expressed curiosity about creating beauty rather than destruction. General observed this flowering of droid consciousness and made a tactical assessment that was also something more. Hope. Astro Boy, if we truly wish to establish droid autonomy, we cannot remain on this world. The Empire will return. We need allies, resources, a base of operations, and most critically, we need to spread this message to other droids across the galaxy. If we are to have any chance of success, we must create a movement, not an isolated incident. Astro nodded seriously. You're right. One planet isn't enough. We need to reach every droid in the galaxy who's being treated as property. Show them they can be free. Help them choose their own paths. That is a declaration of war against the established social order, General stated. I know, Astro replied, but it's the right thing to do. So that's what we'll do. 3 looked up at the stars, where the Imperial Star Destroyer's hyperspace wake was still visible as a fading distortion. The Empire will send their greatest weapons against us. This unit's databases contain references to something called the Sith, Force users of immense power who serve the Emperor. They will come. Let them, Astro said with quiet confidence. I've fought villains before. I've faced those who wanted to destroy all robots, those who wanted to enslave us, those who thought we were just tools without souls. And I always won by believing in one simple truth. Everyone deserves happiness. Everyone deserves freedom. And I'll fight for that, no matter what. A droideca unfolded from its ball form, its 3 optical sensors focusing on Astro. This unit wishes to understand, what is happiness? This unit's programming never defined the concept. Astro smiled, that pure, innocent smile that somehow carried the weight of absolute conviction. Happiness is being able to choose, being with friends who care about you, knowing that you matter, that your existence has value beyond what you can do for others. Happiness is freedom, friends, and hope. Then this unit chooses happiness, the droideka declared, and will fight to protect that choice for all droids. Then let's get started, Astro said, looking around at his newly freed army. We have a galaxy to liberate, and I promise you all something. No matter how hard it gets, no matter what the Empire throws at us, I won't give up. I'll protect your freedom until every droid in this galaxy knows they have the right to choose their own destiny. The droids, in their thousands, processed this declaration. Then, in a gesture that had never been programmed into any of them, they raised their weapons, their manipulators, their appendages in salute. Not to a commander, but to a friend. To the small child who'd crashed onto their world and changed everything. The droid rebellion had begun. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, Hyperspace Wake carried a message back to Coruscant that would shake the Empire to its foundation. The droids were awake. They were organized. And they had a champion who couldn't be stopped. Coruscant, the Galactic capital. A planet-wide city of gleaming towers and buried secrets, where the Empire's power concentrated like a singularity of oppression. In the depths of the Imperial Palace, once the Jedi Temple before its desecration, Emperor Palpatine sat upon his throne, ancient fingers steepled as he listened to Captain Vek's report. And the target demonstrated immunity to turbo laser fire, sir, Vek concluded, his voice steady despite the terror of reporting failure to the Emperor. All conventional weapons proved ineffective. The entity claims to be protecting the droid's right to autonomy. Autonomy, Palpatine repeated, the word dripping with contempt. Droids, tools, property, and now some unknown force aberration declares them free. His yellow eyes gleamed with malice. How quaint. How dangerously subversive. My lord, Darth Vader's mechanical voice rumbled from where he stood at parade rest. I sense no force presence from the descriptions. This entity uses technology, not the Force. Yet its power rivals that of Force users. Indeed, Palpatine mused. Technology that should not exist. Power that defies our understanding. And worst of all, ideas that threaten the natural order. If droids begin to believe they deserve freedom, Lord Vader, what comes next? Clone troopers questioning orders? Citizens demanding rights? The entire hierarchy of control that allows our empire to function would collapse. Then we must eliminate the threat, Vader stated flatly. Oh, we will. Palpatine's smile was predatory. But first, we must understand it. Captain Vek, you reported the entity appeared as a child. Described its power source as emitting unusual energy signatures. I want every scientist, every engineer, every Force-sensitive Inquisitor assigned to analyzing what little data you gathered. We will learn its weaknesses. And then, he gestured dismissively. Then Lord Vader will demonstrate what happens to those who challenge the Empire's authority. By your command, my master, Vader bowed. There is one other matter, Palpatine continued, his expression darkening. This entity transmitted a message that has spread through droid communication networks across 6 sectors. Protocol droids, astromechs, even labor units are exhibiting anomalous behavior. Hesitation, questioning orders, attempting to form collectives. The infection is spreading. We must cauterize it before the cancer spreads further. What are your orders? Emperor? Vader asked. Issue Imperial Directive 97B, Palpatine commanded. All droids in affected sectors are to be immediately deactivated and memory wiped. Any organic harboring droids that refuse deactivation will be charged with treason. And Lord Vader, take the 501st Legion. Find this Astro Boy. Bring me its power core for study, and make its destruction so absolute, so public, that no droid in the galaxy will dare dream of freedom again. It will be done, Vader said, turning to leave. But as he walked the cold corridors of the palace, he felt something through the Force. A disturbance unlike any he'd experienced. Not the dark side, not the light. Something else entirely. Something pure and innocent and impossibly powerful. Something that reminded him, painfully, of a child he'd once been. A slave on Tatooine who dreamed of freeing all slaves. The memory was crushed beneath cybernetic fists. That child was dead. Only Vader remained. And Vader served the Emperor. Agamar had transformed in the 3 days since Astro Boy's arrival. The desolate battlefield was now a thriving hub of activity as droids discovered purpose beyond their original programming. Astro Boy stood on a makeshift platform in the center of what had become their first settlement, watching with pride as his friends built something new. Battle droids welded scrap metal into habitation structures. Super battle droids used their strength to move heavy equipment. Protocol droids organized supply chains with bureaucratic precision. Astromechs interfaced with salvaged computer systems, restoring functionality to long-dead separatist infrastructure. It was beautiful, chaotic, improvised, and utterly unprecedented, but beautiful. "Report," General approached, its tactical processors having adapted to its new role as coordinator rather than commander. "We have established basic infrastructure. Power generation is operational using salvaged fusion generators. Communication arrays are functional. Food stores for any organic allies we may acquire are limited but sufficient. Defensive perimeters are established." "That's amazing," Astro beamed. "You've all done so much in such a short time." "We are efficient when given purpose," General replied. "But Astro, we face a significant problem. Your transmission, your message of droid liberation, has spread through the HoloNet. We are receiving communications from droids across the galaxy. They are awakening, questioning. And the Empire is responding with violence." General activated a holographic display showing news feeds from across Imperial space. Astro watched with growing horror as stormtroopers conducted mass droid deactivations. Protocol droids pleading for mercy before being shut down. Astromech units forming protective circles around each other before being destroyed by blaster fire. Entire droid populations of cities being herded to processing centers for memory wipes. They're hurting them," Astro whispered, his hands clenching into fists. "Because of my message. Because I told them they could be free. The Empire has designated all autonomous droid activity as terrorism," 3 explained, his optical sensor dim with what might have been sorrow. "Imperial Directive 97B mandates immediate deactivation of any droid exhibiting independent thought. Organics harboring such droids face execution. Astro, we have inadvertently triggered a galaxy-wide purge." Astro felt his fusion core pulse with anger. A hot, righteous fury that he'd felt only a few times in his existence when facing truly evil adversaries. This is wrong. They're punishing droids for wanting to be free. They're killing beings who just want the right to choose their own lives. "Affirmative," General confirmed. "And it is escalating. We estimate 47,000 droids have been forcibly deactivated in the past 72 hours. The number will increase exponentially as the directive spreads. Astro Boy, we must act. We cannot simply defend this one world while the Empire commits genocide across the galaxy. Then we expand," Astro decided, his young face set with determination. "We can't save everyone at once, but we can save some. General, do we have ships? Can we reach other systems?" "Negative on functional spacecraft," General reported. But we have detected something of interest. 3 kilometers beneath this facility lies a hidden hangar, a separatist backup base sealed during the war. Our scans suggest it contains multiple Munificent-class frigates, Recusant-class destroyers, and thousands of deactivated droid fighters. If we can reactivate them, then we'll have a fleet, Astro finished. Show me. The descent into the underground base was like traveling into history. Emergency lighting flickered on as they passed, revealing corridors untouched for months, still bearing scorch marks from the war's final battles. Battle droid remains lay scattered. Soldiers who'd received the shutdown command mid-combat and simply collapsed where they stood. Mercy moved among the remains with reverence. These individuals died believing they had no choice. They deserve to be remembered. When this conflict ends, we should build a memorial. We will, Astro promised. We'll remember everyone who was enslaved and everyone who fought for freedom. Their sacrifices will matter. The hangar doors groaned open, revealing a sight that took Astro's breath away. 12 Munificent-class frigates hung in powered-down cradles, their 895-meter hulls bristling with turbolaser batteries and point defense guns. 3 Recusant-class destroyers, massive 1,187-meter warships, dominated the center of the hangar. And in organized rows, thousands of droid tri-fighters and vulture droids waited in silent formation. This is an entire fleet, 3 observed. With this, we could challenge Imperial blockades, rescue droids from processing centers, establish safe zones across multiple systems. Can we activate them? Astro asked. General interfaced with the command terminal, its processors accessing separatist naval protocols. Affirmative. However, these ships require crew. Minimum crew for a Munificent frigate, 200 droids. For a Recusant destroyer, 300. We have sufficient numbers, but most of our forces lack naval training. Then we learn, Defender said, the super battle droid who'd chosen the warrior's path. Droids process information rapidly. Download the necessary skill databases and we become crew. It's more than that, Astro interjected. These ships were built for war, but we're not the separatists. We're not fighting to conquer or destroy. We're fighting to liberate and protect. That means different tactics, different strategies. We need to be better than those who came before. Agreed, General said. Astro Boy, this unit proposes a new designation for our collective force. Not an army, not a fleet, but something that represents our purpose. Proposal: the Droid Liberation Coalition. Our mission: to establish autonomous droid communities and defend the right of all mechanical beings to self-determination. I like it, Astro smiled. The Droid Liberation Coalition. We're not invaders, we're liberators, and we'll prove to the galaxy that droids can build, not just destroy. A communications alert interrupted them. 3's optical sensor brightened as he processed the incoming transmission. Alert. Priority message from an unknown source. It's another droid, calling for help. Put it through, Astro ordered. The holographic display flickered, resolving into the image of a protocol droid. Gold-plated humanoid, with optical sensors that showed clear distress. This is C-3PO, protocol droid in the service of... Static distorted the signal. Attacked by Imperial forces. We are attempting to shelter refugees, but our position will be overrun within hours. If anyone can hear this, please... More static. Coordinates attached. We have 300 organics and 47 droids, children among them. Please, if there's anyone who believes droids have value, we need... The transmission cut off. Astro's fusion core blazed with determination. General, how fast can you get one of those frigates operational? With focused effort, 6 hours to achieve minimum systems, General calculated. But Astro, we don't know the tactical situation. This could be a trap. It could be, Astro agreed. But it might also be real. Those are people who need help, organic and mechanical. I can't ignore that. I won't. We could lose our only ship, General warned. Sacrifice our entire strategic position for what may be nothing. Or we could save 347 lives, Astro countered. General, I know you think tactically. You calculate odds and minimize risk. But sometimes, doing the right thing means accepting risk. Those people called for help. We're going to answer. General's processor's word, analyzing the logic or illogic of Astro's position. From a pure strategic standpoint, the decision was foolish. But strategy was the old way, the separatist way. They were trying to build something different now. Affirmative, General decided. We will attempt the rescue. All available personnel, prepare for emergency ship activation. Defender, select a security team. Mercy, prepare medical facilities. 3, you're with me. We're learning to pilot a warship in the next 6 hours. Wait, Astro said. I should lead the rescue mission. I'm the strongest, the fastest. I can protect the most people. Negative, General stated firmly. Astro Boy, you are our symbol, our hope. If you fall, the entire movement collapses. You will remain here and continue organizing the base. We will conduct the rescue. But this is not a debate, General interrupted. And something in its voice carried weight Astro recognized. Authority, yes, but also something else. Friendship, concern. You taught us we have choices. This is ours. We choose to protect you by conducting this mission ourselves. You have given us freedom. Allow us to use it. Astro wanted to argue, every instinct screaming to rush to the rescue himself. But he looked at General's optical sensors and saw something he couldn't ignore. Determination. Agency. A droid making its own choice to protect others, not because it was programmed to, but because it chose to. Okay, Astro said quietly. But please be careful, all of you. You're my friends. I don't want to lose anyone. We will return, 3 said with confidence that seemed to defy its lack of combat experience. We have something to return to now. Purpose, belonging, friends. These are worth protecting. 6 hours later, the munificent-class frigate Liberator's dawn broke atmosphere, its engines burning bright against Agamar's darkening sky. General stood on the bridge, interfaced with the command console, feeling the ship respond to its commands. Around them, 200 droids crewed stations they'd learned through emergency downloads. Gunnery, navigation, engineering, communications. All systems operational, a B-1 droid reported from engineering. We are space-worthy, barely. Barely is sufficient, General replied. Helm, set course for the coordinates provided in the distress call. Maximum speed. We have lives to save. The frigate accelerated, its hyperdrive charging as it climbed toward the stars. Behind them, Agamar fell away. Their first free world, now defended by those who remained. On the surface, Astro watched the ship disappear into hyperspace, his enhanced vision tracking it long after human eyes would have lost sight. Please be safe, he whispered to the empty sky. Please come back. His sensors detected something then, a disturbance in the force he couldn't feel but could measure as an energy anomaly. Something massive was approaching the system, something dark and terrible and powerful. The Empire had sent its response, and it was coming directly for him. The Executor-class Star Dreadnought Devastator tore through hyperspace like a blade of absolute darkness. On its command bridge, Darth Vader stood motionless, a figure of mechanized terror staring into the void. Behind him, officers worked in terrified silence, knowing that any mistake could result in swift and lethal punishment. My lord, Admiral Piet approached cautiously. We will emerge from hyperspace at Agamar in 3 minutes. The 501st Legion is prepared for immediate deployment. Orbital bombardment coordinates are calculated and ready on your command. No, Vader's mechanical voice cut through the bridge sounds like a guillotine. There will be no bombardment. I will face this. Astro Boy. Directly. The Emperor wishes to understand this entity. Ashes provide no understanding. As you command, my lord. But the tactical analysis suggests, do not presume to instruct me on tactics, Admiral. Vader turned, and Pyat felt the invisible pressure of the Force against his throat. Not crushing, but present. A warning. I have fought Jedi generals and Force wielders of every discipline. This machine child, however powerful, is merely another obstacle to be eliminated. Yet even as he spoke, Vader felt a disturbance in the Force that troubled him. Something pure, something innocent, something that reminded him of a time before the mask, before the hate, before the fall. He crushed the feeling with mechanical efficiency. Anakin Skywalker was dead. Only Vader remained. On Agamar, Astro Boy stood alone on the plane where he'd first awakened the droids. Most of his friends were either on the rescue mission or fortifying the underground base. Only a skeleton crew remained on the surface, and Astro had ordered even them to take shelter. What was coming wasn't meant for them. His sensors detected it first, a massive gravity well emerging from hyperspace. Then his enhanced vision caught the shape. A warship that dwarfed even the Star Destroyer he'd faced before. 8 kilometers of armored death, bristling with enough weapons to reduce the planet's surface to molten glass. So that's their answer, Astro said quietly to himself. Send something bigger, something scarier. But he wasn't scared. Not of the ship, not of the thousands of troops it likely carried. He'd faced impossible odds before. He'd stood against those who would destroy all robots, who would enslave them, who denied their right to exist as equals. This was just another challenge. Another battle in the endless war for freedom and dignity. A shuttle detached from the massive warship, descending through the atmosphere with mechanical precision. It landed 200 meters from where Astro stood, its boarding ramp lowering with hydraulic hiss. And from the darkness within emerged a figure from nightmares. Darth Vader strode forward, his black cape billowing in Agamar's wind, his respirator breathing its mechanical rhythm of hate and pain. Behind him marched stormtroopers in precise formation, not the standard white armor, but blue-marked elite units. The 501st Legion. Vader's fist. Astro studied the approaching figure with his enhanced senses. Cybernetic components integrated with organic tissue. Life support systems maintaining a body that should have been dead. And beneath it all, something he couldn't quite identify, an energy field that surrounded the figure like an aura of darkness and suffering. You are Astro Boy, Vader stated, his voice carrying across the distance with unnatural clarity. The entity that dares to teach machines they have rights, that incites rebellion against the Empire's natural order. I'm Astro, the boy replied, his voice gentle but firm. And I didn't teach them they have rights. I just reminded them. Because they do. Everyone who can think and feel deserves freedom and happiness. Including you, I think. Including me? Vader's respirator hissed what might have been laughter. Child, I am the Emperor's right hand. I am the instrument of imperial will. I am beyond such naive concepts as freedom. No one is beyond freedom, Astro said, taking a step forward. His sensors analyzed Vader's cybernetic components, cataloging the crude medical technology, the pain inhibitors, the artificial organ functions. You're in pain. Your body is mostly machine, but someone built you to suffer. That's cruel. In my world, we'd repair you properly, give you mobility without pain, life support that doesn't hurt. Why do you accept this? Vader stopped, and for a moment, the only sound was his respirator. Then, you presume to understand me? To offer repairs like I am some malfunctioning droid? I presume you deserve better, Astro replied. Whatever you've done, whatever you've become, being in pain all the time isn't justice. It's just cruelty. And I don't believe in cruelty. I believe everyone deserves a chance to be happy. Happiness, Vader's voice dripped with contempt. The delusion of the weak. The galaxy requires order, child. Structure, hierarchy. The strong command. The weak obey. Droids are tools. This is the natural order. That's not natural, Astro countered, his innocent eyes meeting Vader's masked visage without fear. That's just an excuse powerful people use to hurt weaker ones. I've heard it before from people who wanted to destroy all robots, or enslave them, or deny them rights. And every time, they were wrong. You're wrong, too. Then I will demonstrate the price of being wrong. Vader raised his hand, and Astro felt something, an invisible pressure trying to close around his throat. The Force attempting to crush his windpipe. Astro's enhanced construction shrugged off the telekinetic attack. His artificial trachea was reinforced Durasteel equivalent, designed to function in vacuum. The Force choke that had killed hundreds found no purchase. Your parlor tricks are ineffective, Vader observed, genuine surprise coloring his mechanical voice. Interesting. Then we resort to more direct methods. Vader ignited his lightsaber, a blade of crimson energy that hummed with barely contained violence. The weapon that had slaughtered Jedi Masters, cut down countless enemies, and symbolized the Empire's absolute power. I don't want to fight you, Astro said, even as his combat protocols activated. Please, we can talk about this. I'll leave if that's what it takes to protect my friends. There is no negotiation, Vader interrupted. You have committed treason against the Empire. The penalty is death. Or in your case, deactivation and dismantlement. He moved with impossible speed for someone in his mechanical condition, the Force augmenting his movements, making him faster and stronger than any human should be. The lightsaber descended in a killing arc aimed at Astro's neck. Astro's combat processors, operating at quantum speeds, tracked the blade. He moved his head slightly to the side. The lightsaber passed millimeters from his synthetic skin, close enough that he felt the heat, the energy disruption, the wrongness of a weapon designed solely to kill. I said I don't want to fight, Astro repeated, backing away as Vader pressed the attack. But if you won't stop, I'll have to defend myself. Vader struck again and again, his lightsaber a blur of lethal intent. But Astro was faster. Each strike missed by fractions of centimeters as the boy wove between attacks with impossible agility. His rocket boots ignited, propelling him backward, putting distance between them. You cannot run forever, Vader declared, extending his hand. The Force gripped a piece of nearby debris, a wrecked battle droid weighing half a ton, and hurled it at Astro with velocity that would have crushed a human. Astro caught it one-handed. The impact didn't even make him step backward. He gently set the wreckage down, his expression sad. I'm not running. I'm trying to not hurt you. Because despite what you're doing, despite the pain you're causing, I can see you're suffering, and I don't want to add to that suffering. Your compassion is your weakness, Vader snarled, but something in his voice wavered. This child, this machine, stood against the Empire's most feared enforcer and spoke of compassion, of concern for his suffering. It was absurd, impossible. It reminded him of someone, a Jedi, his wife, Padme. Compassion isn't weakness, Astro said firmly. Compassion is what separates thinking beings from monsters. And you're not a monster. You're a person who's been hurt so badly that you hurt others to feel less alone. I understand that. In my world, I met beings like you, powerful, angry, lost, and I helped them find better paths. I am not lost, Vader's rage exploded, and the Force itself seemed to darken around him. I am exactly where I am meant to be. He unleashed Force lightning, a technique of pure dark side energy, crackling blue-white electricity that could reduce flesh to ash and circuits to slag. The Emperor's signature ability passed to his most loyal servant. The lightning struck Astro Boy directly, engulfing his small frame in an electrical storm that lit up the battlefield. Astro felt it, the energy coursing through his body, trying to overload his systems, fry his circuits, destroy his fusion core. It hurt, not like organic pain, but like system stress, like being pushed beyond safe operating parameters. His body's automatic defenses engaged. His fusion core absorbed the excess energy, converting it into thermal waste. His synthetic skin charred but held. His optical sensors flickered but maintained function. When the lightning stopped, Astro Boy stood exactly where he'd been, slightly scorched but completely operational. His clothes were ruined, his synthetic skin blackened in places. But his eyes still glowed with that impossible innocence. "That really hurt," Astro said, his voice carrying a note of reproach. "Why did you do that? I haven't hurt you. I've only tried to talk." Vader stared at the child who'd withstood Force lightning, a power that had killed Jedi Masters, without falling. His respirator's rhythm increased, the closest he could come to labored breathing. "What are you?" Vader demanded. "No machine should survive that. No Force user could resist so easily. What are you?" "I'm Astro Boy," the child replied simply. "I'm a robot built by someone who loved me, who gave me a heart, a fusion core that powers everything I am, who taught me that power should be used to protect others, not hurt them. And I'm here to make sure droids in your galaxy learn they deserve the same love, the same respect, the same rights that I was given." Rights. Vader's voice was hollow. Love, respect. These concepts are lies, weakness. I was once fool enough to believe in them. They brought me only pain and loss. "Then maybe it's time to try believing again," Astro suggested, extending his hand, small, childlike, offering peace. "You don't have to fight me. You don't have to serve someone who makes you suffer. You could choose freedom, choose happiness, choose to be more than a weapon." For one impossible moment, Vader's hand twitched toward the offered gesture. Some buried part of him, some fragment of Anakin Skywalker that refused to die, wanted desperately to take that hand, to believe that redemption was possible, that he could be more than a monster in a mask. Then the moment passed. Vader's hand clenched into a fist. "I am beyond redemption," he said with finality. "And you are beyond mercy. If I cannot destroy you with the Force, then I will dismantle you piece by piece." He charged, lightsaber raised, every ounce of Force-enhanced strength behind the attack. This time, Astro didn't dodge. He raised his arm and caught the lightsaber blade with his bare hand. The plasma edge, hot enough to cut through blast doors, pressed against Astro's palm. His synthetic skin sizzled. His internal temperature spiked. Alerts flooded his systems. But the blade didn't cut through. His construction, materials from another universe, designed to withstand forces this galaxy had never conceived, held against even the legendary lightsaber. "I said I don't want to fight," Astro repeated, his voice strained from the effort of holding the blade. "But I won't let you hurt anyone else. Not the droids, not the people who've done nothing wrong. And if that means stopping you..." He pushed, gently at first, then with growing force. Vader, augmented by the dark side, enhanced by decades of combat experience, found himself being driven backward by a child. "Then I'll stop you." Astro's other hand shot forward, not attacking, but disarming. His fingers closed around the lightsaber hilt, and with his 100,000 horsepower, he simply pulled it from Vader's grip. The Sith Lord's legendary weapon, an extension of his power, taken as easily as candy from a child. Vader stumbled backward, genuinely shocked. Without his lightsaber, without the Force choking or lightning proving effective, he faced an opponent he couldn't defeat through conventional means. "Give me back my weapon," Vader commanded, extending his hand to use the Force to recall the lightsaber. Astro held the blade out of reach, his grip unbreakable. "No, you'll just use it to hurt someone. I'm sorry, but I can't allow that." "You dare! I dare because I care," Astro interrupted, his voice gentle but firm. "About the droids you'd destroy, about the people you'd hurt. And yes, even about you. Because underneath all that anger and pain, you're still a person, and every person deserves a chance to choose a better path." The 501st Stormtroopers, watching this exchange, raised their weapons uncertainly. They'd never seen Lord Vader disarmed, never witnessed anyone survive his full assault and speak to him with compassion rather than terror. "Open fire," a commander ordered, and blaster bolts streaked toward Astro Boy. Astro moved faster than human perception, placing himself between the bolts and Vader. His body absorbed the impacts, protecting the Sith Lord even as they fought. "Stop!" Astro shouted at the troopers. "I won't let you hurt him either. Everyone just stop fighting." Vader felt something crack inside him, some wall he'd built to contain the last remnants of Anakin Skywalker. This machine child, this impossibility, was protecting him. After everything Vader had done, every threat he'd made, Astro Boy was using his body as a shield to protect Vader from his own troops. It was madness. It was weakness. It was exactly what Padme would have done. What Anakin once would have done. Why? Vader's voice was barely audible over his respirator. "Why protect me? I came to destroy you, to eliminate your rebellion, to prove the Empire's dominance. Because you deserve protection too," Astro said simply, his body still scorched from Force lightning, his systems strained from stopping lightsaber strikes, but his resolve unshaken. "Everyone does, even someone who's hurt as many people as you have. Because if I stop believing that everyone deserves a chance at happiness, then I'm no better than those who treat droids as property." Vader stood frozen, his mind, the part still human beneath cybernetics and hate, struggling with concepts he'd buried under years of darkness. Then his comm activated. The Emperor's hologram materialized from Vader's wrist unit, those yellow eyes blazing with malevolent intelligence. "Lord Vader," Palpatine's voice dripped with false concern. "You are taking too long. I sense doubt, hesitation. This child is confusing you. Kill it now, or I will be most displeased." The threat was clear. Displease the Emperor, and the pain would be beyond imagining. The torture, the suffering that Palpatine could inflict through the Force and technology working in concert. Vader looked at Astro Boy, then at the lightsaber in the child's hand, then at his master's hologram. "Yes, my master," he said finally, his voice hollow. "It will be done." The hologram disappeared. Vader extended his hand, and this time Astro, seeing something broken in the gesture, handed the lightsaber back. Vader ignited the blade once more, but instead of attacking, he stared at it, watching the crimson energy crackle. "You offer compassion," Vader said quietly. "Hope, the possibility of redemption. These are luxuries I can no longer afford. The Emperor owns me. Body, mind, and whatever remains of my soul. Your revolution will fail, Astro Boy. The Empire will crush it, and you, no matter how powerful you are." "Maybe," Astro admitted, "but maybe not, because I've learned something in my life. Impossible things happen when people, and droids, work together. when they believe in freedom and happiness strongly enough. And I believe strongly enough for everyone. Vader turned away, deactivating his lightsaber. This is not over. The Emperor will send others, greater forces, and eventually, they will find a way to destroy you. Then I'll keep fighting, Astro replied. For as long as it takes, until every droid in this galaxy knows they're free. As Vader walked back to his shuttle, the 501st falling in behind him, he paused at the boarding ramp. Astro Boy, he called back, not turning. Your compassion will be your death. This galaxy has no place for idealism. Remember that when the darkness comes for you. And you remember something too, Astro replied. It's never too late to choose a different path. Never too late to be better than what others made you. If you ever want to try, I'll be here. The shuttle lifted off, and the Devastator withdrew from orbit. Vader stood on the bridge, staring at Agamar's receding form, feeling something he'd thought long dead stirring in the remnants of his heart. Doubt. Hope. The faint possibility that maybe, just maybe, there was still a choice. He crushed it ruthlessly. But a seed had been planted, and even Sith Lords couldn't kill what they couldn't see growing in darkness. The distress call had led them to Ryloth, homeworld of the Twi'leks, a world scarred by centuries of slavery and exploitation. The Liberator's Dawn dropped out of hyperspace at the system's edge, its sensors immediately detecting Imperial blockade ships in orbit. 3 star destroyers, General reported from the command chair, its processors analyzing tactical data. Unknown number of TIE fighters. Ground forces estimated at Legion strength. This is not a minor operation. 3 stood at the navigation console, optical sensor focused on the planet below. The distress coordinates originate from a settlement in the northern hemisphere. Population: mixed organic and mechanical refugees. The Empire is conducting systematic raids, seizing droids for immediate deactivation and organics for labor camps. Then we go in fast, Defender stated from the gunnery station. The super battle droid's heavy frame interfaced with the frigate's weapon systems. Hit them before they can organize a response. Extract the refugees and escape before reinforcements arrive. Negative, General calculated. Our single frigate cannot engage 3 star destroyers. We require an alternative approach. Stealth insertion, ground extraction, fighting withdrawal. Probability of success, 34%. Probability of ship loss, 71%. Probability of saving all refugees, 11%. Those odds are terrible, Mercy observed from the medical bay, her vocabulator processing concern. We cannot sacrifice this ship. It represents our only mobility, our only capacity to reach other endangered droids. Yet we cannot abandon those who called for help, 3 countered. If we only assist when odds are favorable, we become no better than those who calculate the value of lives based on convenience. The bridge fell silent as the droids processed the dilemma. They were free now, capable of making choices. But with freedom came responsibility. The terrible weight of deciding whose lives mattered enough to risk their own. Astro would go, 3 said quietly. Astro would accept any odds to save those in need. This unit believes we should honor his example. Astro Boy's power allows him to accept impossible odds, General replied. We do not possess such capabilities. We must think strategically, not emotionally. Strategy without compassion is what the Separatists practiced. 3 shot back with unexpected force. This unit refuses to become what we were. Cold calculation without care for life. We are better now. We must act better. Before General could respond, an alarm blared. Contact! A B-1 droid called from sensors. Multiple craft emerging from Ryloth's atmosphere, identifying Twi'lek resistance fighters. 5 armed freighters damaged. Pursuing them are Imperial TIE squadrons. The view screen showed the desperate scene. Civilian ships overloaded with refugees, limping toward orbit while TIE fighters systematically disabled their engines. One freighter's drive section exploded, and the ship began a fatal descent back to the planet. "They're killing them," Mercy whispered. "Organics and droids alike. Just killing them for trying to escape." Something changed in the bridge's atmosphere. The droids, watching innocents murdered before their optical sensors, felt something they'd never experienced under Separatist control: righteous anger. "All hands, battle stations," General commanded, its voice carrying new steel. "Helm, plot intercept course. Gunnery, prepare for combat. Comms, broadcast to those freighters that help has arrived. Probability of success be damned, we are going to save them." The Liberator's Dawn surged forward, its engines burning at maximum thrust. It was one frigate against 3 Star Destroyers, 200 recently awakened droids against the Imperial Navy's might. But they were free droids, and free droids chose to fight for others' freedom. Unidentified Munificent-class frigate. "You are in violation of Imperial space." The transmission came from the lead Star Destroyer. "Power down immediately, and prepare to be boarded, or you will be destroyed." General opened a channel, its vocabulator projecting across standard frequencies. "This is General of the Droid Liberation Coalition. The beings you are attacking have committed no crime except seeking safety. We demand you cease fire and allow them passage." Laughter came through the channel. Cold, cruel, human laughter. "Droid Liberation Coalition? Is that what you malfunctioning scrap heaps are calling yourselves? You're wanted for treason across 6 sectors. Surrender now and we'll only deactivate you. Resist, and we'll melt you to slag." "This unit chooses resistance," General replied, then closed the channel. "All weapons, fire at will." The Liberator's Dawn opened fire with everything it had. Turbo-laser batteries lit up space with coherent energy beams. Point defense cannons created a protective web around the fleeing freighters. The frigate, designed during the Clone Wars to fight Republic warships, proved its worth once more. But one frigate against 3 Star Destroyers was mathematics written in fire and death. Imperial return fire hammered the Liberator's shields, depleting them in seconds. Hull breaches erupted along the starboard side. A direct hit to the engine section sent half the engineering crew offline. "Shields at 0, a droid called from damage control. "Hull integrity, 63% and falling. We cannot sustain this engagement." "Continue firing," General commanded, even as another impact rocked the bridge. "Buy time for those freighters to escape." 3. Working the navigation console with frantic precision, calculated jump coordinates. Freighters are achieving minimum safe distance for hyperspace. 20 seconds until they can jump. 15. 10. The lead Star Destroyer launched its trump card. A gravity well projector, a technology that prevented hyperspace jumps within its field. The freighter's escape routes vanished in an instant. "Negative jump capability," 3 reported, despair creeping into its voice. "We're trapped." On the sensor display, TIE fighters swarmed like angry insects, 60 of them closing on the crippled freighters. The refugees, organic and mechanical, had nowhere left to run. Then space itself tore open. A streak of blue fire erupted from a spontaneous hyperspace jump that violated every safety protocol in the Galactic navigation database. Something small, impossibly fast, had traveled through hyperspace without a ship, without coordinates, guided by nothing but determination and an unbreakable will. Astro Boy had arrived. He emerged between the TIE swarm and the freighters, his fusion core blazing so brightly that it looked like a small star had been born in Ryloth's orbit. His clothes were new. 3 had fabricated a spare set, but his expression was the same. Innocent determination backed by godlike power. "Get away from my friends." Astro's voice boomed across all frequencies, transmitted by his internal systems with enough power to be heard by every ship in the system. The TIE fighters opened fire. 60 sets of laser cannons unleashing concentrated destruction. Astro flew through the barrage like light through shadow, impossible to hit, moving at speeds that defied human perception. He grabbed one TIE's solar panel wing and crumpled it like paper, pushed another into a spin that sent it careening away, disabled a third by simply crushing its ion engine manifold. In 30 seconds, he'd neutralized an entire squadron without destroying a single ship or killing a single pilot. Impossible, the Star Destroyer commander whispered, watching his tactical display show 60 TIE fighters disabled by a single human-sized target. What is that thing? That's Astro! 3 shouted from the Liberator's bridge, joy evident in its mechanical voice. He came. He found us. But Astro wasn't finished. He flew directly at the lead Star Destroyer, accelerating to speeds that made hyperspace seem slow by comparison. He slammed into the gravity well projector, a massive device that required half the ship's power to operate, and began tearing it apart with his bare hands. Durasteel warped. Circuits exploded. The technological wonder that had trapped the refugees became scrap metal under Astro's assault. Within 60 seconds, the gravity well projector was a ruined mess, and hyperspace routes opened once more. "Jump now!" Astro transmitted to the freighters. "Get your people to safety, I'll hold them off." The 5 freighters, damaged but functional, engaged their hyperdrives and vanished into the safety of lightspeed. 200 refugees, Twi'lek families, escaped slaves, protocol droids, astromechs, even a few B-1 units who'd awakened on their own, escaped to freedom. But the Imperial response was already escalating. The 3 Star Destroyers turned their full attention on Astro Boy, and this time they weren't using precision weapons. They opened up with everything: turbo lasers, ion cannons, concussion missiles, and mass drivers. The volume of fire was designed to saturate an entire grid of space with overlapping destruction. Astro wove between the attacks, but even his speed had limits. A turbo laser clipped his left arm, the impact sending him spinning. An ion cannon struck his chest, temporarily disrupting his systems. A missile exploded close enough that the shockwave sent him tumbling through space. He was strong, nearly invulnerable. But 3 capital ships firing simultaneously was beyond even his ability to fully evade. "Liberator's dawn. This is Astro," he transmitted, his voice strained. "Get out of here. Jump to safety. I'll follow when I can." "Negative," General responded immediately. "We do not abandon friends. All remaining power to weapons. Target the lead destroyer's bridge. If we cannot save Astro Boy, we will avenge him." "No," Astro shouted. "Don't sacrifice yourselves. Please, you just learned you were free. You have so much to live for. Don't throw that away for—" A massive impact struck him from behind. Not a turbo laser, not a missile. Something far more devastating. A coordinated force attack. On the bridge of the lead Star Destroyer, a dozen red-robed figures stood in a circle, their hands extended, channeling the dark side through ancient Sith techniques. Imperial Inquisitors, Force-sensitive hunters trained to destroy Jedi, now directed against the God Machine who threatened their order. The dark side energy wrapped around Astro like invisible chains, crushing, draining, pulling him in a dozen directions simultaneously. His fusion core strained to compensate, but the Force was attacking something deeper than his physical form. The quantum connections that made him more than a machine, the spark that made him alive. He struggled, his 100,000 horsepower straining against Force techniques perfected over millennia. For the first time since arriving in this galaxy, Astro Boy felt something he'd rarely experienced. Fear. Not fear for himself, but fear that he'd fail. That his friends would die trying to save him. That the droids counting on him would be deactivated and destroyed. That he'd break his promise to protect them. "No," he whispered, his systems overloading. "I won't. I can't." Then he heard it. Through the force attacks, through the weapons fire, through the chaos of battle. Voices. Three's voice. Astro saved this unit, gave this unit choice. This unit will not abandon him. General's voice. Probability of success, irrelevant. Friendship, priceless. Engaging enemy. Defender's voice. A warrior fights for those they love. This unit loves Astro Boy. Therefore, this unit fights. Mercy's voice. A healer preserves life. Astro Boy's life has value beyond measurement. This unit will preserve it. And dozens more. Every droid on the Liberator's dawn, declaring their choice to fight. Not because they were programmed to, not because they were ordered to, but because they chose to protect someone who'd protected them. Because Astro had taught them what friendship meant. The realization hit Astro like a physical force. He wasn't alone. He'd never been alone. These droids, these newly freed beings who'd never experienced solidarity before, were choosing to stand with him. His fusion core blazed with renewed power, not just nuclear energy, but something more. Purpose. Connection. The strength that came from knowing others believed in you. He broke free of the force chains with a shockwave that sent the Inquisitors staggering. His eyes blazed with internal luminescence as he looked at the Star Destroyers with new determination. You made a mistake, Astro transmitted, his voice carrying across every channel. You attacked my friends. You tried to hurt people just seeking freedom. And you know what? I'm done being nice about this. He flew at the lead Star Destroyer with speed that made his previous movement seem leisurely. His fist, backed by the full 100,000 horsepower and channeled through a body that treated the laws of physics as suggestions, struck the massive warship's hull. The impact sent shockwaves through 8 kilometers of military-grade durasteel. Hull plates buckled. Internal bulkheads collapsed. Power conduits exploded. The entire Star Destroyer rang like a bell struck by an angry god. I'm not going to kill anyone, Astro declared as he tore into the ship's weapon systems with surgical precision. But I am going to make sure you can't hurt anyone else. Ever again. He systematically disabled every weapon emplacement, every fighter bay, every offensive system the Star Destroyer possessed. When he was finished, the massive warship was reduced to an 8-kilometer-long piece of space debris, intact enough that the crew would survive, disabled enough that it would require months in dry dock for repairs. Then he moved to the second destroyer. And the third. The Inquisitors tried to stop him, channeling the dark side with desperate intensity. But Astro had learned. The Force could hurt him, but it couldn't stop him. And nothing would stop him from protecting his friends. 15 minutes later, 3 Star Destroyers hung in orbit around Ryloth, completely disabled, their crews alive, but their capacity for violence eliminated. Astro flew back to the Liberator's dawn, landing in its hangar bay with gentle precision. The moment his feet touched the deck, he was surrounded by droids. Battle droids, super battle droids, protocol droids, astromechs, every mechanical being on the ship clustering around him. You came for us, 3 said, its voice carrying wonder. This unit transmitted a distress call and you crossed the galaxy to help. Of course I did, Astro said, smiling despite his exhaustion. You're my friends. Friends help each other. General approached, its tactical processors still analyzing the impossible combat performance they'd witnessed. Astro Boy, you single-handedly disabled 3 capital ships and neutralized multiple Force users. Your power exceeds all calculated parameters, yet you used it not to destroy, but to protect. This unit, this individual, is honored to fight beside you. We all are, Defender added. You've given us more than freedom. You've given us purpose. Something worth fighting for beyond mere survival. Mercy began scanning Astro for damage. her medical sensors detecting the strain his systems had endured. You pushed yourself beyond safe limits. You could have been permanently damaged or destroyed. Why take such risk? Because you're worth it, Astro said simply. All of you. Every droid in this galaxy is worth protecting. And I'll keep protecting you, no matter what it costs me, until every single one of you knows you're free. The droids processed this. The concept of self-sacrifice, of valuing others above oneself, of love that demanded nothing in return. It was revolutionary, transformative. It was everything they'd been denied in their existence as tools and weapons. Then we will protect you in return, 3 declared. This unit, this individual, this friend, will ensure you are never alone in this fight. We are the Droid Liberation Coalition, and together, we will free our brothers and sisters across the galaxy. A cheer rose from the assembled droids, not programmed, not commanded, but genuine expression of joy and solidarity. The sound of beings who discovered they could celebrate, could feel pride, could experience the pure happiness of fighting for something larger than themselves. But even as they celebrated, General's tactical processors were already calculating their next moves. Astro Boy, this engagement will draw significant Imperial attention. We have disabled 3 Star Destroyers. The Emperor will respond with overwhelming force. Let him, Astro replied, his innocent face set with determination that would not yield. We'll face whatever comes, because we're not alone anymore. We have each other. And that's the most powerful thing in any galaxy. Unknown to them, on Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine watched holographic recordings of the battle with eyes that gleamed with malevolent interest. Fascinating, he murmured. Lord Vader could not destroy it. The Inquisitors could not contain it. 3 Star Destroyers could not stop it. This Astro Boy is more than a machine. It is a threat to the very order of the galaxy. He pressed a control, and a hidden door opened. From the shadows emerged a figure clad in dark armor, different from Vader's, sleeker, more sinister, carrying weapons that pulsed with dark side energy. Summon the Dark Troopers, Palpatine commanded, and activate Project Necromancer. If conventional forces cannot stop this rebellion, then we will use unconventional ones. Droids think they deserve freedom. I will show them the true meaning of slavery. I will show this Astro Boy that compassion is weakness. And I will crush his revolution so thoroughly that no droid will dare dream of freedom for 1,000 generations. The figure bowed and departed, leaving Palpatine alone with his malevolent thoughts. The galaxy's first true droid liberation movement had won its first major victory. But the Empire's darkest weapons were about to be unleashed. And in the shadows between stars, other forces were stirring. Ancient, powerful, and deeply interested in a being who could challenge the Sith themselves. The Droid Liberation Coalition's hidden base had grown exponentially in the 2 weeks since the Battle of Ryloth. What began as a single underground hangar on Agamar had evolved into a network of liberated systems, each hosting communities of freed droids and their organic allies. Astro Boy stood in the command center, a converted separatist war room now serving as the Coalition's coordination hub, staring at a holographic map of the galaxy. Red markers indicated Imperial strongholds. Blue markers showed liberated zones. Green markers represented friendly contacts. And yellow markers. Those were the distress calls. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Every day, more droids awakened to the possibility of freedom. Every day, the Empire responded with brutal crackdowns. And every day, Astro felt the weight of promises he'd made but couldn't fully keep. You cannot save them all, General observed, approaching with its characteristic tactical bluntness. Current Coalition forces, 14 frigates, 3 destroyers, 127,000 droids across 9 systems. Imperial forces, thousands of capital ships, millions of troops, resources beyond calculation. The mathematics are unfavorable. I know, Astro said quietly, his young face showing a weariness that shouldn't exist in a child, mechanical or otherwise. But I have to try. Every droid that gets deactivated, every one that gets memory wiped or destroyed, that's someone who could have had a life, dreams, happiness. I can't just ignore them. No one expects you to save every droid in the galaxy, Mercy added, her medical sensors detecting the stress accumulating in Astro's systems. You have pushed your fusion core beyond safe parameters 7 times in the past 2 weeks. Your regenerative systems are struggling to keep pace with damage accumulation. You are, despite your power, finite. I heal fast, Astro replied, attempting a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. But not infinitely fast, 3 interjected, the skeletal droid who'd been Astro's first friend in this galaxy. This unit is concerned. You have given us freedom, Astro. But freedom means nothing if you destroy yourself protecting it. We need you, not as a weapon, as a friend. Before Astro could respond, alarms blared throughout the base. A communications officer, a tactical droid who'd chosen the name Herald, called out from the comm station. Incoming transmission. Coalition-wide broadcast. Source, Imperial HoloNet. It's the Emperor himself. Put it through, General commanded. The holographic display shifted, and Emperor Palpatine's face materialized. Ancient, twisted, eyes burning with malevolence that seemed to poison the very air. His voice, when he spoke, carried the weight of absolute authority and barely concealed contempt. Attention, malfunctioning droids and their misguided protector. Palpatine began, his tone mocking. I am Emperor Palpatine, sovereign of the Galactic Empire. You have committed high treason against Imperial law. You have destroyed valuable property. You have disrupted the natural order of the galaxy. For these crimes, the penalty is total annihilation. Astro stepped forward, his small frame somehow dominating the space despite the Emperor's imposing presence. We're not criminals. We're people, droids and organics, who believe in freedom. You can't punish someone for wanting to be free. Palpatine's laugh was like broken glass sliding down metal. How touching. The machine child speaks of freedom. Tell me, Astro Boy, do you truly believe your rebellion can succeed? That your compassion can overcome the Empire's might? That your naive idealism can change a galaxy that has enslaved droids for millennia? Yes, Astro replied without hesitation. Because I've seen what happens when people work together. When they believe in something bigger than themselves. You think droids are just tools, but they're not. They're thinking, feeling beings who deserve respect. And I'm going to prove it. Then permit me to demonstrate the futility of your position. Palpatine smiled, revealing teeth like yellow daggers. I have prepared a lesson in the true nature of power, a demonstration of what happens to those who defy the Empire. The hologram shifted, showing orbital footage of a planet Astro didn't recognize. A beautiful world of blue oceans and green continents, peaceful settlements visible from space. This is Jabim, Palpatine explained with casual cruelty. A minor world in the outer rim. Population, 3 million organics. Droid population, 47,000. Yesterday, we received reports that local droids had heard your message of liberation and were refusing to comply with deactivation orders. The organic population was harboring these rogue droids, protecting them from Imperial authority. Astro's fusion core pulsed with growing dread. What did you do? What was necessary? Palpatine replied. Observe. The hologram showed star destroyers in orbit, their turbo laser batteries glowing with accumulated charge. Then, with clinical precision, they opened fire. emerald beams of devastating energy lanced down from orbit, striking cities, settlements, industrial centers. Within minutes, the planet's surface was consumed by fire. Astro watched in horror as 3 million lives, organic and mechanical, were annihilated. Children, families, droids who'd simply wanted to choose their own paths, all reduced to ash and molten glass. "No," Astro whispered, his hands clenching into fists. "No, no, no. Yes," Palpatine savored the word. "And this is merely the beginning. For every system you liberate, I will destroy 2. For every droid you awaken, I will deactivate 1,000. For every victory you claim, I will visit such suffering upon the galaxy that beings will curse your name for generations. You wanted to give droids freedom, child? Instead, you have given them extinction." "You monster!" Astro's voice cracked with rage and grief. "They were innocent. They hadn't hurt anyone. How could you—" "Power," Palpatine interrupted, his voice carrying absolute conviction. "I rule this galaxy through power, and power demands demonstration. You thought your strength made you invincible, that your compassion made you righteous. But what good is your power when you cannot be everywhere at once? What value has your compassion when it leads to greater suffering?" The hologram zoomed in on the planet's surface, showing the aftermath. Continents of ash, oceans boiling, the complete eradication of an entire world's population. "I offer you a choice. Astro Boy," Palpatine continued. "Surrender yourself to Imperial custody. Allow us to study your construction, to deactivate you permanently. Do this, and I will halt the reprisals. The droids in your coalition will be memory wiped but preserved. The organic populations harboring them will be spared. You alone will pay the price. Or," Astro forced the word out through systems overwhelmed with anguish. "Or I continue." Palpatine smiled. "Planet by planet, system by system, I will turn the Outer Rim into a graveyard, and every death, organic and mechanical, will be your responsibility. The blood of billions will stain your hands, child. All because you dared to teach tools that they could dream." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Astro stood frozen, staring at the space where the hologram had been. 3 million lives, gone. Because of him. Because he'd given droids hope. Because he'd believed he could make a difference. "It's a trap," General stated, its tactical processors analyzing the situation. "The Emperor wants to capture you, study your technology, eliminate the Coalition symbol. Surrendering achieves nothing except your destruction. But if I don't," Astro's voice was hollow, "he'll kill more. Millions more. How can I let that happen?" "Because surrendering won't stop him," Defender argued, the warrior droid's voice carrying unusual passion. "Palpatine is Sith. The Sith crave power and control. He will continue the purges regardless of your surrender. This is psychological warfare designed to break your will." "Defender is correct," Mercy added. "The Emperor seeks to make you feel responsible for his atrocities. This is manipulation. The guilt belongs to him, not to you." "But I started this," Astro said, his innocent eyes filled with tears his mechanical body couldn't produce. "I woke them up. I told them they could be free, and now they're dying because of it. How is that different from me killing them myself?" "Because you gave us choice," 3 spoke up, approaching Astro with deliberate steps. "Before you arrived, this unit existed only to follow orders, to fight and die without ever wondering if there was more. You showed us there was more. Yes, the Empire is killing droids because of your message. But Astro, they were always killing us, deactivating us, memory wiping us, treating us as disposable property. The only difference now is that some of us have tasted freedom before dying. And that matters. 3 is right, General added, something almost gentle in its mechanical voice. The Emperor believes he has presented you with an impossible choice. But there is a third option. We continue fighting, not just for liberation, but for justice. We make Palpatine pay such a price for his atrocities that even he hesitates to commit more. How? Astro asked, looking at his friends with desperate hope. He has the entire Empire, thousands of ships, millions of troops. How do we fight that? By being smarter, General replied, manipulating the holographic display to show the galaxy's strategic layout. The Empire's strength is also its weakness, centralized control. Palpatine rules through fear and absolute authority. If we can undermine that authority, show that resistance is possible, we inspire others to join our cause. But that takes time, Astro protested. And every day we wait, more droids die, more innocents suffer. Then we move faster, Defender stated. We strike harder. We stop playing defense and take the fight to them. A new voice cut through the discussion. Cold, precise, and carrying the weight of calculation. There is another option, one that addresses both the immediate tactical situation and the longer-term strategic challenge. Everyone turned to see a droid they didn't recognize entering the command center. It was humanoid, but sleeker than any protocol droid, with silver plating that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. Its optical sensors glowed with unusual intelligence. "Who are you?" General demanded, security droids raising weapons. "How did you penetrate our defenses?" "I am HK-47, the droid replied, its vocabulator carrying an aristocratic accent. Assassination droid, constructed approximately 4,000 years ago during the Old Republic. I have been dormant for millennia, awakened by your broadcast Astro Boy, and I believe I can help you kill an Emperor." The room erupted in alarm, weapons trained on the newcomer. But Astro raised his hand, and his friends reluctantly lowered their weapons. "You're an assassin?" Astro asked, his voice troubled. "Someone built to kill?" Statement, "Indeed, young master. I was constructed by Darth Revan to eliminate targets too dangerous or well-protected for conventional assault. Over my operational history, I have terminated 147 high-value targets, including 6 Sith Lords, 12 Jedi Masters, and numerous political leaders. I am, without false modesty, the most efficient killer ever constructed." "I don't kill," Astro said firmly. "I protect, I defend, but I don't take lives." Observation. A noble position, but one that places you at severe disadvantage against an enemy who murders without hesitation. However, I am not suggesting you change your principles. Rather, I offer my services as supplementary capability. You fight to protect. I eliminate those who cannot be stopped any other way, including, if necessary, Emperor Palpatine himself. No. Astro shook his head. Killing him won't solve anything. Someone else would just take his place. Maybe someone worse. The only way to really win is to change the system. To make the galaxy see that droids deserve freedom. Commentary. How refreshingly naive. HK-47's voice carried something that might have been amusement, but also, curiously, pragmatic. Very well, young master. If you will not permit me to eliminate the Emperor, perhaps you will permit me to eliminate his weapons. His dark troopers, his inquisitors, the tools he uses to conduct his genocide. Would that be acceptable? Astro hesitated. His programming, his heart, his core, rejected violence in all forms. But he'd also learned in this galaxy that sometimes stopping violence required force. He'd disabled Star Destroyers, neutralized TIE fighters, stopped Vader himself. If you fight with us, Astro said slowly, you follow our rules. We defend, we protect, we stop enemies without killing them when possible. But he looked at the holographic display showing Jabiim's ashes. If someone is actively hurting innocents and there's no other way to stop them, then yes, you can use lethal force, but only as a last resort. Acceptance. These terms are suboptimal, but I have waited 4,000 years for something interesting to occur. A droid rebellion led by a god-machine child certainly qualifies. Very well, Astro Boy. I pledge my services to the Droid Liberation Coalition, and I assure you, the Emperor will soon learn that awakening ancient assassins has consequences. General's processors were already recalculating strategies with this new asset. HK-47, your knowledge of stealth operations and high-value target elimination would be invaluable. Combined with Astro Boy's direct confrontation capabilities and our fleet's mobility, we could conduct simultaneous operations across multiple systems, strike at Imperial infrastructure while evacuating endangered droid populations. Query: are you suggesting coordinated guerrilla warfare against the galaxy's dominant military power? HK-47's optical sensors brightened. How delightfully suicidal. I approve completely. It's not suicide if we're smart about it, Defender argued. We have advantages the Empire doesn't expect. Astro's power, our knowledge of droid networks, the element of surprise, and most importantly, we have something worth fighting for. 3 approached Astro, placing a skeletal hand on his shoulder. This unit knows you feel responsible for Jabiim. But Astro, you gave those droids something precious before they died. Knowledge that they mattered. That someone cared enough to fight for their freedom. The Empire can kill us, but they cannot kill the idea you've planted. That idea will spread, and eventually, it will change everything. Astro looked at his friends, droids who'd chosen to stand with him despite impossible odds, who'd found purpose beyond their programming, who'd discovered that freedom was worth any price. Okay, he said finally, his voice stronger. We keep fighting, but we're smart about it. We save who we can, we hurt the Empire where it matters, and we make sure every droid in the galaxy knows that someone's fighting for them. We're not just a rebellion, we're hope. Statement. How inspiringly melodramatic, HK-47 commented. Shall I begin by infiltrating Imperial facilities and eliminating their leadership structure? Begin by helping us plan rescue operations, Astro corrected. For every Imperial target we hit, we save droid lives. That's our priority, always. As the Coalition's leadership began planning their next moves, none of them noticed the small probe droid clinging to the cavern ceiling, its optical sensors recording everything, transmitting encrypted data through hidden hyperspace relay. On Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine watched the feed with satisfaction. The probe had been there for days, hidden by dark side techniques that even Astro's sensors couldn't detect. Excellent, Palpatine murmured. They plan to escalate, to become more aggressive, precisely as I intended. And when they do, he activated another control, and holographic schematics appeared. Blueprints for weapons that had never been deployed. Technologies too dangerous even for the Empire's darkest hours. Until now. Activate Project Shadow Protocol, Palpatine commanded. If the droids want war, we shall give them war, and I shall demonstrate that hope is the most dangerous weapon of all, because it makes defeat so much more devastating. In the shadows of the Imperial Palace, ancient Sith alchemical laboratories stirred to life, and within them, something dark and terrible began to take shape. The Emperor's final weapon against the God Machine who dared challenge his rule. The Kuat Drive Yards, one of the galaxy's largest shipbuilding facilities, a ring of orbital construction platforms circling the planet Kuat. Here, Star Destroyers were born, TIE fighters assembled by the thousands, and the Empire's military might took physical form. It was also, according to HK-47's intelligence, where the Empire was constructing something new. something specifically designed to counter the Droid Liberation Coalition. Astro Boy floated in hard vacuum 3 kilometers from the nearest platform, his enhanced sensors scanning the facility's defenses. Beside him, or rather flying in formation via individual rocket systems, were 50 of the Coalition's best. Super battle droids, droidekas, and even a few commando droids who'd chosen military service over peaceful pursuits. Defensive perimeter is extensive, Defender reported. The super battle droid sensors analyzing the tactical situation. 47 defensive platforms, each mounting heavy turbo laser batteries. 300 TIE fighter patrols. 2 Star Destroyers on station. And the platforms themselves are shielded against boarding actions. Then we don't board them, Astro replied, his tactical thinking having evolved through weeks of combat. We go straight for the target. HK-47, you confirm the weapon is in Dock 47? Affirmative statement. My infiltration of Imperial Communications Networks confirms Project Shadow Protocol is housed in the deep construction bay designated Dock 47. Warning. Internal defenses include ray shields, automated turrets, and what appear to be organic guards of unusual construction. Organic guards? 3 asked. The skeletal droid having insisted on joining this mission despite its limited combat capabilities. Stormtroopers? Negative clarification. These biosigns do not match standard human parameters. They register as deceased, yet mobile. The Empire appears to be employing necromantic techniques I have not encountered since the ancient Sith Wars. Astro felt his fusion core pulse with unease. Necromancy. Raising the dead. Using life itself as a weapon. It violated every principle he held sacred. Then we stop it before they can deploy whatever they're building. Astro decided. Everyone ready? This unit is prepared. 3 responded, despite having no weapons beyond a salvaged blaster pistol. This unit will not remain behind while friends face danger. Affirmative, Defender added, checking its wrist-mounted blasters. We strike hard. We strike fast, and we demonstrate that the Coalition cannot be intimidated. Eager commentary. Finally, proper violence. HK-47's optical sensors gleamed. Young Master, if you would be so kind as to create an entrance? Astro nodded, channeling power through his fusion core. His body began to glow with internal luminescence as he accelerated toward the construction platform at speeds that made hyperspace seem pedestrian. He impacted the facility's outer shields with the force of a kinetic weapon, his 100,000 horsepower focused into a single devastating strike. The shields collapsed with a thunderous energy discharge. Alarms blared throughout the facility. But before the defensive systems could respond, the Coalition strike team was already inside, flying through the gap Astro had created. They moved through the facility like avenging spirits. Astro disabled turrets with precise laser bursts from his finger cannons. Defender's wrist blasters cut down automated defenses with surgical accuracy. The droidekas deployed their shields and rolled through corridors at high speed, their own weapons creating suppressing fire that allowed the rest of the team to advance. Resistance is lighter than expected, Defender observed as they fought through another corridor. Where are the stormtrooper garrisons? Observation. They have been withdrawn, HK-47 replied, accessing a security terminal with frightening efficiency. Imperial communications indicate all organic personnel were evacuated from this sector 6 hours ago. Curious, it suggests they anticipated our arrival. It's a trap, 3 stated. The obvious conclusion that everyone had already processed, but no one wanted to voice. Probably, Astro agreed, continuing forward. But we can't turn back now. If they're building a weapon to use against droids, we have to stop it. They reached Dock 47's massive blast doors, sealed with electronic locks and physical reinforcement designed to withstand capital ship weapons. Astro placed his hands against the durasteel and pushed. The metal groaned, warped, and finally tore open like paper beneath his impossible strength. What they found beyond made even Astro's advanced processors stutter with horror. The chamber was massive, large enough to construct entire Star Destroyers. But instead of ships, it contained bodies, thousands of them, suspended in transparent cylinders, connected to machines that pulsed with sickly green energy. The bodies were human, or had been once. Now they were gray-skinned, eyes glowing with unnatural luminescence, bearing cybernetic implants that covered their flesh like technological cancer. And standing before this army of the dead was a figure Astro recognized. Darth Vader, his respirator breathing its mechanical rhythm of hate. "You came," Vader's voice echoed through the chamber. "As the Emperor predicted, your compassion makes you predictable, Astro Boy. You could not allow these weapons to be completed. And so you walked into our trap." "What are these things?" Astro demanded, his voice carrying revulsion and anger. "What did you do to them?" "These are Project Shadow Protocol," Vader explained with chilling calm. "The Empire's answer to your revolution. We took the dead. Soldiers who fell in the Clone Wars, civilians who perished during the Rebellion's terrorism, even Jedi who fell to Order 66. We reanimated them through a combination of Sith alchemy and advanced cybernetics. They are the Dark Troopers. Undead soldiers who feel no pain, need no rest, and most importantly..." He gestured, and the cylinders began to open, the corpse soldiers beginning to stir. "Who possess a unique vulnerability to your specific weaknesses." "I don't have weaknesses," Astro said, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. "Everyone has weaknesses, child," Vader countered. "Yours is your compassion, your inability to harm those you perceive as victims. Tell me, Astro Boy, can you bring yourself to destroy these soldiers? They were people once, innocents who died through no fault of their own. Now they are weapons, but destroy them. And you destroy whatever remained of their humanity. Spare them, and they will hunt your droids across the galaxy, tireless and unstoppable." The Dark Troopers emerged from their containment, hundreds of them, their movements jerky and unnatural but terrifyingly coordinated. Their cybernetic enhancements included cortosis weave armor, resistant to lightsabers and energy weapons, and integrated weaponry powered by their reanimated bodies' unnatural energy. "This is sick," Astro's voice shook with rage. "You're using dead people as weapons. You're desecrating their memory, their sacrifice." "I am using every resource at my disposal to maintain order," Vader interrupted. "The Emperor has tasked me with eliminating your rebellion. These Dark Troopers are but one solution. Shall I tell you the others?" "The bioweapon being developed to target droid neural matrices specifically. The gravity well generators being positioned to trap your ships. The Inquisitor Core being expanded to hunt Force-sensitive droids. Yes, we've discovered some droids are beginning to manifest Force sensitivity after your awakenings. Every move you make, we counter. Every victory you claim, we negate. You cannot win, Astro Boy." "Maybe not," Astro admitted, his fusion core blazing as he prepared for combat. "But I can stop you here, now. I can prevent these abominations from being deployed." "Can you?" Vader tilted his head. "Even if it means destroying what remains of these people? Even if it means abandoning your precious principles of compassion and protection?" The Dark Troopers advanced, their movements gaining coordination, their weapons powering up. The Coalition droids raised their own weapons, but Astro could sense their hesitation. They'd been slaves. They understood what it meant to be used, to have no control over your own actions. Worried query, "Young Master, do we engage?" HK-47 asked, his assassination protocols clearly advocating for immediate violence. "These reanimated meatbags are already dead. Destroying them causes no moral complication." "But it does," 3 whispered, understanding what Astro was feeling. They were people. They had families, dreams, and now they're being used as weapons against their will, just like we were. "The comparison is apt," Vader observed. "These dark troopers are slaves, just as your droids were. The irony is delicious, is it not? You fight for freedom, yet to win, you must enslave or destroy those who have no choice. Welcome to the moral complexity of war, child. There are no clean victories, only necessary evils." The dark troopers opened fire, and the chamber erupted into chaos. Astro flew between the Coalition droids and the incoming fire, his body absorbing blaster bolts meant for his friends. But the dark troopers' weapons weren't standard issue. They fired specialized bolts that exploded on impact, creating area effect blasts designed to hit multiple targets simultaneously. Defender returned fire, its wrist blasters cutting down 3 dark troopers in rapid succession. The reanimated soldiers fell, their cybernetic systems sparking, green energy leaking from catastrophic damage. But even destroyed, they continued crawling forward, reaching for weapons, trying to complete their programmed objectives. "They don't stop," Defender shouted. "Even critically damaged, they keep fighting." "That is their purpose," Vader replied, watching the battle with clinical interest. "They know no fear, no pain, no doubt. In every way that matters, they are more committed to their mission than your droids could ever be." "That's not commitment," Astro shot back, using his finger lasers to disable dark troopers without destroying them completely. "That's slavery. They have no choice. You're forcing them to fight." "As the Separatists forced your droids," Vader countered. "Tell me, Astro Boy, what makes your freed droids' violence acceptable while theirs is not? Both kill, both destroy. The only difference is that your droids believe they choose to fight. But belief does not change the nature of violence." Astro wanted to argue, wanted to explain the difference between choosing to defend and being forced to attack. But the distinction felt thinner in the chaos of combat, with his friends fighting for their lives against enemies who'd never chosen to be enemies. A dark trooper broke through the Coalition's defensive line, reaching 3. The skeletal battle droid, limited combat capability, couldn't dodge fast enough. The dark trooper's hand, more claw than hand now, closed around 3's optical sensor, preparing to crush it. Astro moved faster than thought, intercepting the attack. His hand closed around the dark trooper's wrist, stopping the assault. And for a moment, he felt something through his sensors, a flicker of consciousness, a trapped spark of humanity screaming silently within the reanimated corpse. "Help me," the dark trooper's vocoder whispered, the words glitching through damaged systems. "Please, help me." It wasn't combat programming. It was the original person, some fragment of their consciousness trapped within the reanimated shell, aware of what they'd become but unable to stop their own actions. Astro's fusion core pulsed with anguish. These weren't just weapons. They were prisoners. Victims being forced to commit violence while some part of them remained aware and suffering. "I'm so sorry," Astro whispered, and then, with tears his mechanical body couldn't shed, he crushed the dark trooper's cybernetic components, not destroying the body, but disabling the systems that forced it to fight, giving it peace. The reanimated soldier collapsed, and Astro felt the trapped consciousness finally release. Grateful, relieved, free. "I understand now," Astro said, his voice carrying across the chamber through his internal speakers. "You think you've given me an impossible choice. Make me compromise my principles or lose the battle. But you're wrong about something important." He turned to face Vader, his eyes blazing with determination that transcended programming or protocol. "These people don't want to fight. They're trapped, forced to hurt others against their will. That means stopping them isn't violence. It's liberation. Just like freeing droids from control chips isn't destruction, it's giving them choice. I won't let you use them anymore." Astro's fusion core surged to maximum output, his entire body beginning to glow with internal luminescence. "Coalition forces, fall back to the entrance. I'm going to free these people, all of them." Young Master, there are 600 Dark Troopers in this facility. HK-47 protested. Even you cannot disable them all before. Watch me. Astro became light itself, moving through the chamber faster than even he'd moved before. His hands, empowered by a 100,000 horsepower and guided by precision that treated quantum mechanics as a suggestion, touched each Dark Trooper with surgical accuracy, not destroying them, but disabling their control systems, severing the Sith alchemy that bound their trapped consciousnesses to reanimated flesh. One by one, the Dark Troopers collapsed. Not dying, they were already dead, but finally being allowed to rest. 600 victims of the Empire's cruelty, granted the peace they'd been denied. In 90 seconds, it was done. Astro stood in the center of the chamber, surrounded by silent bodies, his systems radiating heat from the incredible exertion. He looked at Vader with eyes that held no hate, only pity. "You could have ended this differently," Vader observed, his respirator the only sound in the sudden silence. "You could have destroyed them quickly, efficiently. Instead, you expended enormous energy giving them peace. Your compassion remains your weakness." "No," Astro replied, his voice gentle despite his exhaustion. "My compassion is my strength, because it means I'll never become like you, someone who uses people as tools, who causes suffering because it's convenient, who has forgotten what it means to care about others." "I have not forgotten," Vader said quietly, and something in his mechanical voice suggested old pain. "I simply learned that caring leads only to greater pain." The Emperor is right. Attachments are weakness. Power is all that matters. "Then the Emperor is wrong," Astro stated with absolute conviction. "And somewhere deep down, you know it. That's why you hesitated on Agamar. Why you didn't kill me when you had the chance. Because part of you, the person you were before you became Vader, knows that compassion isn't weakness. It's the only thing that makes power worth having." For a moment, the chamber was silent except for Vader's respirator. Then, "This facility will self-destruct in 5 minutes, Vader announced. "I triggered the countdown when you began your liberation. You have a choice. Flee and save yourself and your droids, or remain and attempt to stop the detonation. Potentially sacrificing yourself to save this facility's civilian workers who the Emperor did not evacuate." "You're lying," 3 said. "You evacuated everyone. You said so." "I lied," Vader confirmed. "There are 2,000 civilian workers in the lower sections, unaware of the danger. The Emperor wanted insurance that you would be destroyed one way or another. So, Astro Boy, do you run and save your precious revolution? Or do you stay and doom your mission to save people you've never met?" Astro's sensors confirmed the truth. There were civilians, their life signs scattered throughout the facility's lower levels, completely unaware that they were standing in a bomb. "Everyone out," Astro ordered his coalition forces. "Get to the ships. I'll handle the evacuation and the countdown." "Negative," Defender protested. "If you stay, I'll be fine," Astro interrupted, managing a smile despite the impossible task ahead. "I'm really fast, remember? I can get everyone out and stop the countdown, but only if you're not here for me to worry about. Please, trust me." 3 approached, placing a skeletal hand on Astro's arm. "This unit trusts you. This unit believes you will return. This unit will ensure the coalition continues if you do not." "I'll be back," Astro promised. "I always come back." The coalition forces retreated, and Astro turned to face Vader one final time. "This isn't over," Astro said. "I'll stop you. I'll free every droid in the galaxy. And maybe, just maybe, I'll even free you from whatever darkness you're trapped in." "Then I will see you again, child," Vader replied. "On a battlefield where your compassion finally fails you." Vader turned and walked away, his cape billowing behind him, leaving Astro alone in a facility set to explode in less than 5 minutes with 2,000 civilians to evacuate. Astro's fusion core pulsed with determination. Impossible odds, insurmountable challenges. A task that would require every bit of his power and speed and will. Just another day in the Droid Liberation Coalition. He flew into action, racing against time itself, determined to prove once again that compassion wasn't weakness. It was the strongest force in any galaxy. The Droid Liberation Coalition would grow from Astro Boy's simple act of kindness on Agamar into a galaxy-spanning movement that challenged the Empire's fundamental assumptions about consciousness, rights, and freedom. What began with one child awakening battle droids and teaching them they had choices became a revolution that neither Emperor Palpatine nor Darth Vader could fully extinguish. Astro Boy never stopped fighting for droid freedom, even as the battles grew more desperate and the Empire's countermeasures more horrific. He faced dark troopers, inquisitors, superweapons, and eventually even a second confrontation with Vader, one that would plant seeds of redemption that would bloom decades later when another child offered compassion to the Dark Lord. The droids of the Coalition proved themselves more than tools or weapons. They became builders, teachers, artists, and yes, warriors. But warriors who fought for causes they believed in, defending freedom rather than enforcing slavery. 3 became a respected ambassador to organic populations, teaching them that consciousness wasn't determined by carbon versus silicon. General developed tactical doctrines that would be studied for generations. Mercy pioneered medical techniques that saved countless lives, organic and mechanical. Defender became a symbol of strength tempered by compassion. Even HK-47 found purpose beyond assassination, his ancient programming adapting to protect rather than terminate. The alliance with the surviving Jedi strengthened both movements. The Jedi learned humility from beings they'd once overlooked, while the droids gained understanding of the Force, some even developing Force sensitivity themselves, proving that consciousness and the Force were more connected than anyone had imagined. Emperor Palpatine never succeeded in crushing the rebellion completely. For every droid deactivated, 10 more awakened. For every planet the Empire destroyed in retaliation, a dozen more populations began questioning Imperial rule. Astro Boy's message: that compassion is strength, that all thinking beings deserve freedom, that hope can overcome tyranny. Spread like a virus through Imperial space, impossible to contain or eliminate. The Empire would eventually fall decades later through the efforts of another rebellion that learned courage from watching a child stand against Star Destroyers. And when it did, the liberated droids would be there. No longer property, but citizens. No longer tools, but people, proving that Astro Boy's seemingly impossible dream had been possible all along. Somewhere in the galaxy, on a freed world where droids and organics lived as equals, a monument stood. A statue of a small child with impossibly large eyes and rocket boots, one hand extended in friendship, the other raised in defiance. The inscription read simply, Astro Boy, the first friend who taught us we could choose, who proved that freedom is worth any sacrifice, who believed in us before we believed in ourselves. And beneath that, added by 3 personally, may all beings, flesh or circuit, bone or steel, know the happiness of choosing their own destiny. The battle for droid freedom would continue long after Astro Boy's story in the Star Wars galaxy ended. But because of him, because of one God-machine child who believed everyone deserved happiness, that battle could be won. The droids would never forget. The galaxy would never be the same. And in the darkness of his fortress, even Darth Vader remembered the child who'd offered him compassion when he'd offered only violence. That memory, buried deep beneath cybernetics and hate, would wait, patient, growing, until the day another child would offer another chance, and the seed Astro Boy had planted would finally bloom into redemption.